Welcome, everybody, back into Nerd Sesh. As always, I'm Carson Brabber, and alongside me is Logan Camden. And today, we are joined by some very special guests, our good friends from over at Hivemind. I think I said fens, not friends, but you know what I meant. We've got Graydon here.
Man.
Yep, that indeed. We've got Graydon and Riley here, who, by the way, are now members of the sports media landscape. If you haven't been watching, you got to go check out Hivemind Cheap Seats. Cool. 2 for 2.
Oh,
man.
Jesus.
Oh, I was told this was a
train
professional show.
Not
It's
in the
Hivemind Cheap
slightest, clearly.
Seats. We're on YouTube,
Yeah.
and we talk about football.
Yeah.
Yep. There you go. How much, on a scale of 9 to 10, would you say that we inspired you guys to get into this business? Go ahead,
10,
between 9
easy.
and 10.
Yeah, we just
Thank you.
basically tried to be a better-looking version of you guys, and then only really talk about ball and kind of avoid those deep-cut stats that only real nerds care about.
Yeah, because who the hell wants to listen to that sort of crap, right? Not me. Not me. All right, well, we're excited to have you guys on. We're going to cover a variety of stuff. We're going to get in the holiday spirit today because it's the most wonderful time of the year. The Toyota-thon is going on, which is great.
Yeah. Yeah, Honda
gonna
days
start-
as well.
Cars.
He's pissed. He's pissed. I interrupted him. And
It's not going to be the last time.
Nope.
All
Phenomenal.
right.
No. Shout out to the Honda days.
My fault.
No, please.
Bit of lag.
This has already
on
gone
our
off the
end. Bit of
rails.
lag.
It's already gone off the rails. I mean, once I said cheap sheets, I mean, we probably should have just scrapped the episode there. But
Yeah.
we're going to move on. We're going to start with our NFL power rankings. This is something that we do every other week. I know you guys just did your power rankings. So we'll go through our top 10 teams. We'll start with you guys as our guests. We'll start from the top of this list. Who do you guys have as the number one team in football right now?
Oh, we're going top down?
Yeah. Come on.
We got to agree, man.
We got to agree? No,
No,
we
you
don't.
guys
That's
don't
not
have
what we
to
do on
agree.
the
It's
show.
our list.
No.
It's together.
Well, I basically have assumed the role of, like, the Bills doubter on the show.
All right, how do we kick these guys off?
Right.
I'm not the Bills doubter. They are at number 1 on mine.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
And I have the Chiefs at number 1, and I did a whole spiel just about how, like, this looks exactly like every other Chiefs season, where at the end of the season, everybody's like, no way they're going to win the Super Bowl this year. They actually suck, and Patrick Mahomes is hurt. It's like, yeah, he's hurt every year, and I think he's faking it. And I think they play Carson Wentz for like a game and a half, get him a job somewhere else next season, and then Patrick Mahomes marches to the Super Bowl and wins it again. I don't want that to happen. I hate the script, but I mean that's the movie. The movie we're making. You know.
And if we know anything about Hollywood, they're running out of ideas, man. They're just going to run the same thing back again this year.
Sequels.
Yeah. Everybody will see it. I mean, you know, Emoji Movie 3 or whatever. Yeah.
Well, not a great example just because that's one of my favorites, but
Right.
if you were going to say like The Godfather 2, that would be a better example of all right,
Never
what are we
heard of
doing
it.
Here? We've already seen this. Yeah.
What is that?
It's stupid. You got a bunch of Italians. I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have the Bills at 1 because they beat the Lions, and the Lions were at 1 before, and I think the Lions were the most complete team in the NFL, but then they like sent a bunch of people to war, and they came back with like a broken leg, a broken jaw, a torn ACL, a torn MCL, and now I don't think they can be number 1 anymore.
Yeah, that's totally fair. I agree. I have the Bills at number 1. I think that nobody's perfect this year. Specifically, O.J. Simpson, whose jersey I'm currently wearing, courtesy of Logan Camden. Thanks, buddy. Christmas came early. Is this like a 4XL, by the way? Because I'm
You're a big
6'3"
fella.
and 3/8 and a whole
getting
lot of
big
men.
fella.
I do
It's
not.
hard to tell on camera how big or small you are.
Well, I'm massive, and this
Right.
is. Look at this.
Well, I thought it fit well in the picture. I'm not going to lie.
I feel like I'm supposed to be in pads in this thing.
Well,
This
suit
is
up.
massive, but it's beautiful. It's
The
a great
Lions
jersey.
need you immediately.
I know they
Yeah.
do need me. They really do need me.
Get a load of
Sonny
this.
Brewski.
Get a load of this fucking guy.
Here's the reason I have the Bills at number 1. Nobody's perfect this year. I think that the Bills' defense gives me some cause for concern. I think up against the run, the Bills have struggled. The secondary was really bad last week, but it was also basically a second-string secondary. Here's the thing. In spite of that, we've seen them beat the Chiefs. We've seen them beat the Lions. The offense is averaging 35 points per game over the last 8 weeks, and we're just now starting to see this offense get fully healthy with all of the weapons in place. And Josh is just playing the best football of anybody on the planet, and I have the most confidence in him to maintain that level, to outplay a Mahomes if it came to that duel. So,
Do you think
to me,
he's
my
playing as
faith
good
in
at
the
football
offense,
as Lamar and Joe Burrow?
I think he's playing, in terms of regular season, every bit as well as Lamar. He'd be my MVP. I think he's playing better than Burrow. I think that people underestimate just how impactful Josh being the dual threat that he is.
Yeah.
Is even beyond just like the raw stat sheet. The stat sheet's amazing, but like
he's good at running.
Yeah, exactly. And every single year of his career since 2020, since Burrow came into the league, the Bills have had a better offense than the Bengals, and like that's just a sort of consistency as an engine that Josh gives you, and very few players in league history.
What would happen if Josh Allen had Jamar Chase?
That's what I was just saying earlier.
That'd be
to
scary.
Logan. That would be terrifying. To be fair, Josh has a better line than Joe does. But yeah, I mean, if you gave him Jamar and T. Higgins, good God.
Yeah.
It'd be all over the screen, fellas. If you know what I mean.
Yeah, I do. Actually,
yeah.
he's talking about cum.
I'm talking about ejaculate.
Semen.
All right,
Jizz,
at number
they used to call
2.
it back in my day. Well, Logan.
Oh, sorry.
Let's not skip over the little guy just because he doesn't have
forgot.
as much hair as the rest of us.
What the heck, man?
Sorry.
Chill, bro.
Jesus.
I'm convinced you guys
cheap
just hate
shots.
bald people, man.
You know what I said?
I
Logan?
got the
"Hivemind
Chiefs
cheap
number one."
shots."
Hivemind cheap shots. I get it. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Cheap seats.
Oh, it's all over my cheap sheets. Oh my God, man.
This guy can't afford expensive linens.
He brought it back.
No, I know it's over his cheap sheets though, meaning he can't afford expensive.
But
linens.
because why
the
would you?
jokes
Because
for
he's
the
going to
question.
ruin it with all the ejaculate.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I see
The
it.
jism.
Number 1, Steelers. All right. We can
I agree with Riley here. I've got the Chiefs number 1, and I just think it's the same thing that we do every year. I think people are jumping off the bandwagon. The Chiefs still scare me more than any other team, right? Like, they may have not had the most impressive season up to this point. I think the Bills and Lions have convincingly beaten more teams than Kansas City, obviously, right? Every Kansas City game comes down to a nail-biter. Who do I trust the most in the sport? It's Patrick Mahomes. It's the number 1 third down offense in football, and it's this really well-coached defense top to bottom. So, and ultimately, I've got the Chiefs number 1. Whoever locks up the number 1 seed in the AFC is going to be my pick out of the AFC. But right now, Chiefs have that spot, and they still scare me more than any other team in the league.
It's about this time of year where I place a bet for Patrick Mahomes to win Super Bowl MVP, and it's hit the last 2 years.
That's a smart bet. It historically is a smart bet. Okay, number 2. Riley, we'll start with you. Who you got?
I have the Eagles, I think.
You are a lion sack of shit, man.
Do you
what?
even know?
You don't have the Eagles.
Yeah, I do. Where's my list?
Dude,
See,
this
that's
guy
the thing
is so unprepared.
I have it here. Riley does
I'm
have
looking
the
at
Eagles
Riley's
number 2.
list.
This
He
is
does
just
have the
misdirection
Eagles at
here from
number 2.
Graydon.
He doubted himself, though. You guys saw that real
No,
quick.
that was a great
within
play.
a second.
See,
Oh, you're
I
so
have-
in his head. You're so
I
in
have
his
this
head.
thing where like this is our first year doing like actual sports content where it's like consistently talking about teams, and I was like pulling for the Eagles and saying like, oh, they're such a weird team, but I do, as they became more complete, all the convincing wins, they went on that huge win streak, like I was just kind of like, okay, I really started to believe in them, and now I'm bored of it, you know? Like, there's nothing really to say. Like, it didn't move me when Jalen Hurts had the problem with, A.J. Brown. I was just kind of like, oh, whatever. I did love his diamonds doing the bachata. I did like that in the press conference after the game. But now I'm just kind of like, I just hope that the Lions beat them despite being so depleted. Yeah. And that's really all that I can say. I think Saquon's great, but hasn't looked like as much of a game changer over the last 2 games. Last week, so
1 week.
It's a
and
what
this
have you
guy's
done for me
awful.
lately league for Riley, and I like
You got
it.
hurt and you ran for 75 yards, and now you suck.
Yeah, you don't suck. I'm just bored,
I don't know. I think it's scary that they can turn on a dime. They're 2 for me, too. I'll spoil that. They turned on a dime. Everybody was like, passing game's broken. Here's their biggest concern. Nick Sirianni and the gang doesn't know how to draw. Oh, wait, A.J. Brown's the best one-on-one wide receiver in the NFL. Devontae Smith has his breakout game of the year. Yeah, Saquon gets banged up. That's a little reason for concern. But on the other side of the ball, that's like probably the best secondary in football, and they're stout. They're good.
Yeah. They're number 2 for me, too, which is pretty interesting that all 3 of us have them there and have either the Bills above them or the Chiefs above them and the other team below, because that feels pretty appropriate. Logan, what? Do you have them at number 4? Is that what you just threw up?
All four of us. We all got the Eagles number
I
2.
thought you were
Right,
saying
yeah.
I got him at 4. I was
Oh,
like, are you
okay, all
drunk?
four.
No,
of
but
us.
I just
Yeah, I thought maybe you'd been drinking.
not yet. I got
again.
plans. I got plans after the show.
We already talked
Yeah.
about
We all
that.
got plans, buddy. We all got things to do.
I'm going to be enjoying a Sprite Cranberry in honor of the Christmas spirit and LeBron
I love
James.
the holiday Sprite cranberry.
Yeah, me too.
I'm gonna pour
I've
walk
never
in
had
mine.
I like LeBron and Drum's commercial.
I don't
It's
talk
better
about
with
LeBron
walk.
anymore because he was at a Diddy party.
Wow.
Yeah.
You got to hold him
Well,
accountable.
So were
That's
you
the
guys.
reason there, Yeah.
Well, that we were at one of the fun ones.
Yeah.
What do you guys think LeBron was doing at the Diddy party? Do you
Dancing
think-
and drinking wine. I don't think he was.
I agree.
Well,
I
LeBron
think
was
he
the
might have
life
even
of the
been having a
party.
slice
He
of
was
cheese pizza
dancing,
in the
man.
corner.
Yeah. I don't think he did anything nefarious. That's
No,
my
I agree.
goat, and he's covered in honey.
I agree. I think he's too innocent of a guy. That's my take. My take on the Eagles is this. The reason I think it's interesting that we all have them between the Chiefs and Bills is because it feels like you kind of have your AFC team with your superhuman quarterback, and you either believe in the Bills offense more, you believe in the Chiefs defense more, and one of those is the deciding factor. But then the Eagles are just like the clear most talented, most complete team. And that's why I think they slot in very nicely at number 2. I mean, this defense is unbelievable. Since their bye after week 4, it's been probably the best defense in football. And the offense just has such an easy formula because they're so dominant in the trenches. Saquon is so good. The receiving talent's there. Week to week, they don't need to ask Hurts to do all that much. The only reason I have the Bills above them is because it does still matter to me if I have faith in that superstar quarterback quotient with you. I don't have that from Hurts. He just had an awesome week as a passer, which is encouraging. But, like, that's the only thing that holds me back from crowning the Eagles as my number 1 team is when it comes down to that gotta have it drive, that half where maybe things are a little bit off schedule and you just have to will yourself to a win as the quarterback. That's the only possible limitation you could point out with the Eagles. They're incredibly complete as a football team.
And they're kind of stupid coach.
And
Oh,
Sirianni,
100%.
that's true.
Yeah.
No one really believes in Sirianni like that.
That is true.
And
I
that's
totally agree.
that's the big question mark.
Guys-
That's the difference between them and the Lions.
Yeah, but a few weeks ago I said on the show I was like, that's like the most Philly coach of all time though. He's like winning a game against the Browns and is like flipping off his own fans. I'm like,
know.
that's like Philly for you.
They kind of hate him, though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
and
they
of
boo
course,
him.
and he hates them. And,
I guess that's right. That's
they
the
hate
heart of
each
the
other.
city.
Philly literally, like, if you make one mistake, even like walking down the street and you stumble a little bit, somebody's gonna tell you to fucking off yourself. You know?
Jeez.
Am I allowed
That's
to say
my
that on the
America.
show or no?
Absolutely.
We could cut... Okay, cool.
No,
I
say it
don't know what
again.
you-
Say it again. Louder.
Oh yeah. No, I'll
Wait-
do more. I'll
wait
do more
till-
kill yourself jokes later.
Wait till you guys hear what Marvin Harrison did in the streets of Philadelphia, man.
Yeah.
Was that in Philly?
2 Uzis.
In Philadelphia.
Wow. How about that?
I thought there was only
First
one
murder
Uzi
in
in
city
Philly.
history.
Can you guys do that? Or...
Can't do that on the show. You can make all those jokes. but
No,
you
we can't do that. That's a copyright issue. So we're gonna
sorry.
have to cut that. Okay, Logan, you have Philly number 2 as well.
Yeah, and you guys
Copycat.
just don't get it. Sirianni's going through his bald Sigma winter arc, so I mean, he's just
that's a good point.
he's getting through that. He's going to be a better man on the other side. Yeah, Philadelphia is definitely my NFC favorite right now, and Detroit has dropped precipitously in my power rankings just because of all the injuries. So
You guys amazed at his word of the day precipitously?
Yeah, that was
Where'd he pull that one
just
out?
I just learned it today.
You've been
Wait till
cracking
Riley
open the
says
old
we're
Oxford, huh?
splendid.
Yeah, this is like when we go like to an NBA game or something, and we see the commentators, and we just kind of like look over. We're like, they got suits. Like this is crazy. I wish we were you guys. Yeah.
They're so loquacious.
Oh my gosh, what does that even mean?
I have no idea.
Yeah. Crazy.
But yeah, Philadelphia is for sure my favorite in the NFC. At this point, there are quarterbacks that I trust more than Hurts, but it's not offset by enough. Like, I like Darnold more. I like Goff more. I like I definitely like Jordan Love more. Jordan Love's like my baby boy at this point. But the Eagles are the best team, I think, top to bottom in the league talent-wise, and I'm going to bet on that.
Agreed. Okay, number 3, Riley. You're our starting point. Who you got?
There
even
I
know?
do have the Bills, right?
You do have the Bills,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I like that you guys get to check for me because this is the thing, and we get made fun of on the show. Like, he has a notepad and writes it all down. I literally, like, 2 minutes before we start, I just like text Tony from my notes app. I like rank them and send them to Tony, and he puts them on the screen. So, yeah, I got the Bills there, and you guys said all the things. I basically, in the last episode, said Josh Allen and what army, and then I praised the army specifically by saying James Cook looks great. I like Khalil Shakir. He's really a reliable wide receiver. I think Amari really spreads out that offense and makes it more like dynamic. Josh Allen can work a little bit more because you have to at least respect Amari Cooper as another receiver. And the defense has been just like middling. Like they haven't been great against the run, like you said, and then they do have holes in the secondary sometimes, but they're not a bad defense. It's just not like a super impressive defense like you get from the Steelers or recently the Eagles or especially the Chiefs or like even the red zone defense of the Vikings I'm really impressed by. But like, it's just kind of, that's my thing is I'm just like Josh Allen has to do so much that if he doesn't, we see what those games look like, and they can't even get close to winning when Josh Allen has a dud game.
Yeah.
So
that's fair.
That's why I think he's the true MVP as well, is because if you go by just like actually most valuable player, you take Josh Allen off the Bills, I'm like, who are they,
Yeah. I agree completely.
Yeah.
Graydon?
I have the Lions here, and I know they're decimated, but offensively, I still think they have the most talent kind of out of any team we've talked about yet, just like weapon per weapon. I think we saw like a real, I know it's late in the season, but we saw kind of a breakthrough game from Sam Laporta last week, who was like an off or a touchdown machine last year. I think I'm not a Lions fan, and I listen to Detroit sports radio incessantly, and hearing the calls and the SOLs and the every pit of despair. It's like I was listening to the radio 4 years ago after one loss, after winning 11 in a row. As the outsider, I can still kind of see what's good, and they have this great coach who is like the ultimate inspiration guy, and I think that's what you need when you're decimated with injuries. I think there's like the silver lining of, okay, now it's Jahmyr Gibbs being your bell cow back, and he's good enough to maybe be the best back in the league. Like, we haven't seen his talent completely unleashed, and maybe that's a positive. There's like things like that, and I think if Aiden Hutchinson can make it back by the NFC Championship, if they make it that far, I think Goff's looked like the guy who can throw it 59 times like he did last game and not make those crucial turnovers. He's smart enough to check down to Laporta, use Gibbs in the passing game. I think they can kind of weather the storm, and especially if they get to host, that's like, if they had to go into Philly, if they lose the 1 seed, my tone might change a little bit, but as long as they maintain the seed of number 1, they're right there at 3 for me.
The Lions, I do still think, are incredibly talented, and their offense to me very clearly is one of the 2 best in football. It's them and the Bills, and the Lions formula is just easier, right? Like what Riley mentioned about the load that Josh has to carry. Now, I will say the Bills' line is the best it's been. I think their coaching is the best it's been. I think their overall run game is the best it's been, but nevertheless, like he has to be incredible. And sometimes that's just efficiency, right? Making great decisions. Sometimes that's doing what he did against the Lions, where he makes 3 or 4 throws in the first half alone, where he's extending plays, and you're just like, cool, probably nobody else on the planet can do that. The Lions, it's just automatic, right? Because 90% of matchups, they can just pick up 5 yards per carry on the ground at will. They're going to get a dominant push up front. And Goff has been really, really good. And if there's a positive takeaway for Detroit from last week, it's that, yeah, you could have let up 60, like you legitimately could have, but you also, once you dug yourself that deep hole, you kept pace. And yes, you're facing sort of a soft zone defense, but Goff is having to throw the ball every down, and he was doing so successfully. So that's good for them. I think their offense is absolutely amazing. It's just, I was impressed with what they'd done defensively. They came into last week still as the number 2 scoring defense in football, having lost Hutchinson, having not had Anzalone for the last couple weeks. But now you lose Aleem McNeil, you lose Carlton Davis. I just wonder how much defensive talent they can afford to lose. And I thought last week was really, really brutal for them on that side of the ball. And then they lost 2 of their key best defensive players midway through that game. So I have the Chiefs at 3, Lions at 4. Because whatever questions I have about the Chiefs' offense, and even though I don't think their defense is the same as last year because the secondary's taken a step back and their offense isn't super dynamic, and I do worry about the tackle spots. Like, they still have the best coaching staff in football. I still believe that is at the very least a good defense, and they have Patrick Mahomes, and I just trust that more week to week than I do a Lions team that I'm really worried about defensively right now.
Yeah, I'll do 2 birds with 1 stone here. I have the Bills at 3 because Josh Allen's the best player in football, and I think you made a great point, Riley, about, there's no margin when Josh has a bad game, right? Like, Josh Allen is the Buffalo Bills. If he's off, you're going to lose. There's no way around that, right? So it is my faith in Josh Allen as to why they're number 3. And the Lions, I had them consistently between 2 and 3 this year. I guess probably my hottest take right now is I've dropped them all the way down to 6, and it is because of the defensive injuries. I found out from you guys, actually, they had that many guys beat up on IR. I was listening to one of the Cheap Seats episodes, and you guys were like, oh, the Lions have 13 guys on IR or something. And I was like, that can't be right. They're making that number up or something. And then it is. They're up to like 15 now. The one thing I will say, they've withstood being this battered for a couple of weeks now, and I got to give credit to Aaron Glenn and this coaching staff. They're really well prepared every single game, and the backups have done a really good job filling in. And I think it's this last week against Buffalo is probably the worst it's going to look, because that's your nightmare scenario against the best player in football with an elite Bills offense.
Also just hung 42 the week before.
Exactly.
They're 35 a game for the last 8 weeks.
Firing on all cylinders. That being said, I think we're coming up to the end of the line here, the end of the rope, where I just don't think there's enough slack for the Lions to keep going. And that is, so I've got 2 other NFC teams above the Lions at 6, just because I think the Lions are too beat up.
Yeah,
Can't have shit in Detroit, says Logan Camden. Am I right?
I will say, I mean, it's important that some of those key guys are now on IR. I will say the Lions at one point had 18 players on IR a couple weeks ago, and they were still winning. Yeah. And so it is kind of like, there's a lot of jokes in Detroit. It's like, everybody's like next man up, or like we even say grit like as a joke because it's everywhere all over the city. Like on every billboard it says grit.
Yeah, you sell the grit vodka.
Yeah, and like all, but I do believe in that spirit. It's just not a movie. Like, this isn't a football movie. It's like that does matter going down. It's not going to be Dan Campbell putting on pads and going to play linebacker for a few snaps.
God,
like,
that'd be
it's
awesome.
just not going to happen. I wish, I wish it was like we
and he
believe
just bites
in
a
this
guy's
man
head
so
off.
much. No matter how many people are hurt, this team's going to the Super Bowl. This is our window. And I want that, but I can't bet on it,
Last thing I'll say about them is they are comfortable being the underdogs. And that might be – Dan Campbell went on air yesterday and gave like a General Patton-esque speech. And they – we've never been the heavy favorites, and I think it might be a bit of a good thing to go into the playoffs with a little chip on their shoulders.
Yeah.
That's fair, but does the chip on the shoulder outweigh losing Aleem McNeil and Carlton Davis? And
if the chip on your shoulder is a broken jaw and a fractured leg.
Like,
we were talking about
problem.
When's the last time you heard about broken jaw in the NFL?
Yeah, that's a bad one.
Yeah, actually, the last broken jaw I can think of in sports is Garland last year.
Yeah.
For you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Now look
Tough
at
luck. Tough luck. You guys touch a city, Cleveland, Detroit, what happens? Disaster.
Yep.
Thanks for that.
Wait till you look up Swanton, Ohio. Whole place is in ruins.
Yeah, I don't even want to know. Okay.
Chiefs are at 4 for me.
Chiefs are at 4 for you, Graydon. Lions are at 4 for me. Logan, you crazy bastard. You're mixing it up. Another classic Camden changeup. Who's in your 4 spot?
I called an audible. I've got the Minnesota Vikings at number 4, and it starts with this defense, right? I think that Minnesota's up there for one of the best defenses in football with Pittsburgh, and honestly, I probably prefer Minnesota to Pittsburgh, and the only reason I say that is because I think Minnesota's a little more matchup-proof than Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh, I think you kind of saw their worst-case scenario last week against Philadelphia. No George Pickens. He is the entire source of their offense. But more importantly, like you guys mentioned earlier, A.J. Brown's the best number one-on-one guy in football, and Devontae Smith is a monster too. The Steelers don't have that kind of personnel in the secondary. They're great in zone, and when the pass rush can get home, they're solid, but I think that is a hole of theirs. Minnesota, in my opinion, doesn't have that flaw, and how much they blitz, I think, is a real weapon in their favor. How they disguise their blitzes at the line of scrimmage is really deadly, and it's hard to deal with. They'll blitz, defensive backs at opportune times. They're so good at disguising everything, and so a lot of this is from the belief in the defense, but probably the biggest reason that they've moved from middle of the pack to convincingly top 4 to me is because of the play of Sam Darnold. Darnold has been, in my opinion, one of the best quarterbacks in football the past 3 to 4 weeks, making plays out of structure, really showcasing his arm talent. And don't get me wrong, I want to be clear about something here. I think that Darnold is in probably the most optimized offensive situation for him, or any quarterback. Minnesota is a quarterback haven. You get Jefferson, Addison, Hawkinson, Graydon's over here popping ins, bruh.
KOC.
Yeah, dude, sorry, I had to drop a cool bar real quick. Dude, back in my day, we used to have a dip cup, and we used to chew on glass in our mouth, you know,
back
and
in his
spit it
day,
out.
too. I mean,
I have a dip in, too, don't worry.
That's diabolical. I tried dip one time, spit that shit out immediately, bro. That shit was disgusting.
I've got
See, you seem like somebody who would have dipped more than once.
I'll tell you, I was on clock at Lowe's.
Hold on, I'm sorry. Is that anti-Southern? Can you say that?
Anti-Southern.
If you didn't have a dip cup in your back pocket, you were kind of ostracized. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah,
That's what I'm
I'm
saying.
from Ohio. Everybody I knew except for me was dipping.
All right, that's fair. If I said
it's not a bad thing.
if I said it as a coastal elite, then it would be anti-Southern.
Right,
That's fair.
right, yeah.
Self-proclaimed elite.
Well, I'd like to at least be included. I don't want to be a coastal.
Sometimes I watch ESPN and just look for who looks the most like you, because somebody over there's got to be your dad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
White devil that I.
Nepotism, man.
Yeah, that nepo baby thing. I don't know.
Yeah, it's Scott Van Pelt.
I knew it.
Dude, I get SVP all the time, bro. That's what my boy Mark calls me, bro, because I'm bald.
Yeah.
No, I tried it one time. I went into the Lowe's bathroom because I was on break, and we found me and my boy found a full can of dip, and we were like, all right, bro, let's try this shit. It was gross.
found it in the
I
men's
don't
room?
recommend the habit. It's a filthy
found
habit.
can? It could have been laced, bro.
You ground
No,
scored
dude,
dip.
it was fully packed.
This was
different
pre-fat, yeah.
different times, man.
Different
Yeah,
times.
yeah, for sure. I'm
Okay.
glad. I mean, there are highs in life and there are lows in life.
So well said. So well said.
I
The Minnesota
peaked
Vikings
right
are at a
there.
high, huh, Logan?
Yeah, I have the Vikings next, too, so I agree with you. They're really close there. Honestly, I could be convinced to put them higher than the Chiefs on my board.
I was going to compare, I will say, like, it's just that gut feeling of when a team gets in the red zone against that Vikings defense. I feel like that about the Chiefs, too. It's like, you're not sure they're going to score.
Yeah.
You know? Even if they, first and goal at the 8. I'm like, the Vikings have the defensive energy to hold them to a field goal here and not give them the space to even, go for it on fourth and 1, at the 1, fourth and goal. They might not go for it. It's like they're really good at holding that line, and that is so important in the playoffs. And that's why I've started to believe more in the Vikings too, and I've had them above the Packers consistently throughout the season because I was saying, I'm like, Sam Darnold is playing really, really well, and he makes mistakes, but not in the same way where we saw, last year Joe Flacco had a terrible game in the playoffs, fully went
all right.
I mean, come on, give the old guy a mulligan or two.
Yeah,
Listen, I'm not blaming him. I love Joe Flacco. I'm just saying, everybody was kind of waiting for Sam Darnold to fall off, or Derek Carr. We saw it happen.
Well, he sucks, so.
Right, but I'm just I really have believed in them all season, and I think now they're playing their best or most complete football, end to end, start to end games.
Mike McDonald's so handsome.
Who? Mike McDonald, the
Or
coach of the Seahawks?
Kevin O'Connell. So.
Mike McDonald is kind of handsome. Kevin O'Connell is very handsome.
Kevin O'Connell's a hunk.
Oh,
Yeah.
he is just a slice of cheese.
He looks like a
I'd love to
Pixar
bite
dad.
into. Yeah, with the big ol' asses. They always give the Pixar dads the big ol' asses, like Mr. Incredible. Yeah. I'm with you here, Riley. I think that there are people who have been waiting for the bottom to fall out for the Vikings and for Darnold, and I really don't think it's going to happen. I'm not saying that you couldn't have a Darnold disaster class in a playoff game, but you could also have a Goff disaster class. You could have a Hurts disaster class. All of these dudes are in the tier of being quarterbacks who are in very good situations and who I trust to mostly perform well in those good situations. And that's what Darnold is. I think after the Eagles, this is the most complete team in football. And I considered moving them above the Lions too, because I'm like, I need to see the Lions defense against an offense that isn't the Bills, because that's such a hard test for them being this banged up. But if that Lions defense really is dragging even more than I expect, that would be the advantage for the Vikings, because they're an elite defense and they're a very good offense. Right now, I think I still trust that just unstoppable offense factor from the Lions a little bit more, and I think they'll still be probably within the range of being okay defensively because we've seen them overcome injuries up to this point on the
Saw
year.
them against the Packers too.
Yeah, but I really like the Vikings. I think that they're definitely well within striking distance of the Lions. Like, that's a real conversation.
Yep.
And I will say they're within striking distance of being the 1 seed.
Yeah.
They are.
They might play at home all playoffs, which
That's a
is
scary
would
home
be a
field.
really, really weird twist, you know? Because everybody's been like, it's the Lions or the Eagles. Now, it could easily be the Vikings, which would be wild.
They control their own destiny. They have the tiebreaker over the Eagles. They play the Lions head-to-head. They win out. They're the 1 seed, which is pretty crazy, but, like, they've earned it. Like, they're one of those very few teams that doesn't have a stinker all year. Yeah. I mean, their losses were very close game to the Lions and close game to the Rams. Those are quality losses. So I think the Vikings are really, really good.
Yo, while we're on Pixar dads, Riley kind of looks like the dad from Inside Out, right?
People have said that, and the daughter in that movie's name is Riley, so that didn't help because then people just had it in their mind, you know?
All right, hold on. Let me get a look at this guy.
I feel like that's best case scenario for me.
Oh, Riley, I think you're more handsome than this guy. This guy's good looking.
Come on.
Bill
That guy's a
Anderson.
cartoon, so.
Yeah.
He's also got a big ol' ass, you know?
Yeah, and I don't have
Big old
I don't
fat
have
butt.
that. Yeah.
You don't got a big whopper?
Not
he
at
does not
all.
have a big
it's
whopper.
like strangely flat. It's wild. back
More
there.
like
It's
some
almost
sort
inverse.
of junior burger, maybe.
Yeah, I've been telling you guys to visit. You've only seen the top halves of us.
I'd love to. Whenever I find myself in Detroit.
I don't exist outside of this box.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, Logan's not allowed to leave. Well, Logan right now, what you guys can't see is in
chained.
a dungeon. Right in front of him is his gimp suit. Behind him is his chain. And he doesn't move more than 4 feet in any given day.
And you have the tether, right? So
Oh,
you
of course
can't
I've
leave
got
either.
the tether. He's actually right below me. If you can believe me, his setup is right under my desk.
Oh, no way.
I'm
That's
petting-
the same
I'm-
flag in the background.
It
It's
is.
just a forced perspective thing.
I'm petting him as we speak. Okay, so Logan, you don't have the Lions at 5. You've got them at 6. Who's in your 5 spot?
So I have the Packers here in this spot, and it does come down to health. It also comes down to the Jordan Love and this explosive offense factor. Josh Jacobs is among a handful of best running backs in the league today, especially when we're just talking about running between the tackles and running the ball when you're not counting in receiving and stuff like that. Jacobs has really had a resurgence behind this line, and I've said this about the Packers all year and why I like them as a dark horse. The Packers are probably the most explosive team in football on both sides. And what I mean by that is offensively, Jordan Love hits on more explosive shot plays, it seems, than any other quarterback, where the offense it'll grind to a halt, and then at some point in the third quarter, he just hits a deep bomb 70 yards to Christian Watson or something ridiculous. And then defensively, they may not be the best at getting teams off the field quickly, but opportune sacks, opportune interceptions, the Packers always seem... They're really opportunistic, and this team is still the youngest team in football, and so maybe that I'm a little nervous about that when it comes into the playoffs again. But they're healthier than the Lions right now. They do have Jair Alexander, who's out, who they need, I think, for a playoff run. But I believe in Jordan Love. I really like this offense a lot. They're just really solid on both sides of the ball, and I obviously think Detroit has a better offense, but they're just so beat up right now. So I am selling low, so I go Vikings, Packers, Lions in that order.
Yeah. I think that if they're like a team that is figuring out their formula too, because I feel like what I've always not liked about Jordan Love is just the off-schedule stuff. He makes a lot of mistakes when he does that, and like that is where the explosive plays come from. But in the red zone, I feel like there's been so many mistakes where he just throws it where he shouldn't. Just take a sack and he throws it, and then it's an interception, or it's just like too many dangerous throws down there. And then now I feel like they've realized, okay, we've got Josh Jacobs. Let's just run in the red zone and look for explosive plays when we're like, at our own 30 instead of trying to, But, so I believe in them more than I did. I think they're really putting it together. And I do love I've said the defense, there's so many takeaways. Like they flip the field a lot. It's like really interesting the way that they play defense, because they're not like stout. They're just like, they play like defense like an offense or something.
They're greedy.
It's weird. But I do like them. I like them. I just don't believe in them as much as the Vikings or the Lions right now.
Graydon?
I have them there at 6. What we saw from Josh Jacobs this last game, he kind of like grabbed to go into Seattle and set the tone like he did in that first half, like he sucked the life out of them even before that Geno injury.
Whew, sign me up.
Settle down, buddy.
Yeah, and you could just tell, like, from their first 2 possessions, they were like, oh, this is over. Like, they don't have the right game plan. They don't have the personnel up front to slow this guy down. And if you're going to average 6.5 yards a carry and you allow Jordan Love to do a play action bootleg, you're fucked. Like, if that setup's there for him, it makes his job really easy, and he doesn't have to do those hero plays. Like, you can just kind of exploit his arm talent and his legs. And yeah, I agree. I think they need Jair Alexander back, but I like that coaching staff. I like how they're playing, and they're trending up in a big way for me.
I have Green Bay at number 6 too. I mean, they've been playing their best football of the year as of late, I think, overall. I mean, they've got a few dominant wins over the last 4 weeks, and Toyotathon has started, and here's why that's really relevant.
Yeah.
Our friend Pablo Escobar popularized the theory that now I see spreading like wildfire, and he never gets credit, and it pisses me off, that Jordan Love is a different player during Toyotathon. In his career, I think he has like 26 touchdowns to 2 picks during Toyotathon. I mean, earlier in the year, like the question with Love was, yes, you're getting all of this great stuff with the shot plays and some of the playmaking out of structure. He's also thrown 11 interceptions in 8 games. Last 4 games, Toyotathon season, no interceptions. So if he really locks in and he takes care of the football, thank you. That means that this is one of the elite offenses in football, and they're another team that has an easy formula because they're so well coached. They run the ball so well. They open up the play action, and they have a really good quarterback. The difference for me between them and Minnesota is the defense. I do believe in Minnesota's defense a good bit more. And versus the Lions, I think as good as the Packers' offense is, the Lions score 33 points per game, right? I mean, they make it as easy as any offense I've seen, and that's just an A-plus punch I'm still going to bet on. All these teams are close. I mean, they're all awesome, but I would go Lions narrowly over Vikings, then a little bit more of a gap in Packers.
Yeah.
Yeah. And one thing that Graydon brought up in one of our episodes recently is like thinking that the Packers need like a clear number 1 receiver.
Yeah.
And I feel like I have said I really like Dobbs, and I think that Reed's great too, and I think Christian Watson is like one of maybe the best option 3 in the league. But I also they got Tucker Kraft. Like I think they're deep, but maybe they do need like the playmaker wide receiver number 1. Like the Lions have Amon-Ra St. Brown and the Vikings have Justin Jefferson, those are clear like top 5 wide receivers in the league.
The depth is really good, though. I think the depth, to a pretty large extent, does make up for that because it's like any given game, one of those guys can explode, and they have their roles, right? I think Christian Watson's averaging like 35 yards per catch over his last 10 receptions or something.
That's insane. Yeah.
It's ridiculous. And Kraft has been so reliable. So I see what you're saying, but the depth is really good. And so it does make me confident in the passing attack and the receiving talent.
Yeah. Yeah.
The thing that'll probably hold him back more is probably earlier what you said about Jordan Love, because as much as I do love Jordan Love, we saw how their season ended last year against San Francisco, right? It was him throwing into double coverage and just threw the game away. So that to me isn't as big a concern, but we've seen consistently young quarterbacks, they get that number 1 guy and they go up a notch, right? Like Josh, when he took the leap, right, had Stephon Diggs. And I don't think it's something that they need, but I think it probably would take Jordan Love up another level. Even Dontavian Wicks is nice too.
Yeah.
What's up with Stephon Diggs being paid to date women?
What is
you guys
this?
see that?
No.
What? No.
I thought that was just a you thing, Graydon.
No. I mean, everybody's got a side gig. It's a gig economy. But no, Stephon Diggs has like 6 girlfriends that pay for his time. You guys haven't read this?
You know, that really makes sense when you consider the context of the interview in the Vikings locker room where they go around asking everybody, like, who's the player you least want your sister to date, and everybody says Diggs. But it's because it would break the family financially. I think that's really where the concern
I don't want my
comes
sister
from.
to go broke.
Yeah, he's charging $1,000 an hour. You know, it's just not a sound
Are you
investment.
fact checking me over there on the side?
Dude, it says that academics reported that Diggs is dating not just
Shout
women.
out to academics.
I swear to God, when you said that, I thought you meant academics like various scholars. And I was like, what are they tied up in all this?
Peer-reviewed article.
No, famous Uber Eats user, DJ Academics.
Yes.
He's apparently not only just dating 5 other women, it's 5 rappers' girlfriends that are paying for Diggs' services.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Wow.
he's I guess it doesn't work, but he's a male gigolo essentially. Yeah,
That does work.
Yeah, it does totally
Yeah, it
work.
does work.
Yeah.
It totally
Well, no, I was
works.
thinking about the classic hit movie Deuce Bigelow.
Deuce Bigelow, male
Yeah,
gigolo.
of course.
of course.
Yeah.
Classic.
European, right?
Yeah.
Here's what I'll say: Toyotathon ends January 6th.
Okay.
And after that, all bets are off with
Coincidence?
Jordan Love. Coincidence?
I
think
am
not.
busy that day, if anybody's asking.
Yeah. Riley, of course, is going to be at the anniversary. But
Right.
we'll see. Because I do actually think that that's a swing factor for this team. Love has to take care of the football.
Yeah.
I love him so much. But, like, that's the one thing that early in the year was just too far. It was too many turnovers from him.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know him, so I can't love him, but yeah.
Well, I love him. Jordan Love, right there in the name. It's the most wonderful time of the year for getting in on all the hoops, football, and hockey action at DraftKings Sportsbook. In the season of giving, we're being gifted college football and basketball, pro football and basketball, and pro hockey too, almost 24/7.
So many games every day, so many opportunities to place your first bet. Try betting on something simple like picking a team to win. Go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app and place your bet. And here's a gift for all new customers. Bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins.
Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code NERDS. That's code NERDS for new customers to get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins when you bet just $5. Happy holidays from DraftKings. The crown is yours. Okay, Riley, 7th spot.
I think we have to first go back and figure out why Riley's so high on the Steelers, man. What's
Yeah.
up with that, dude? Can you sell me on them?
No, I can't.
Wait, did Riley, did you have the Steelers higher? Did we
Yeah.
skip over that? Oh.
Yeah, where we could do this real loose. I got the Steelers up there because I have basically just my thing with them is I just like them on both sides of the ball, and I think if George Pickens is back, like they have proven to be a very dynamic offense, and that defense. Although I am worried about Watt, is like I don't know how long that's gonna be. Is he out now? Like actually out?
I mean, he might miss. I don't know TJ Watt, but knowing his history, if TJ misses this week, he'll be back in time for the play. Same thing with George. I think that they're going to be. I think the Steelers are going to be really conservative with these injuries over the next couple of weeks because we've already clinched playoffs. But TJ will be back out there.
Yeah, I think TJ is going to be really conservative eventually.
No, that's the Bosas. Riley, that's the Bosas. The Watts
I know,
you don't
but
know.
I mean every white defensive end eventually,
Not Max Crosby.
Not Max Crosby. No, actually, yes, Max Crosby, right? I think he
conservative?
actually came out as a Trump guy despite being in so many ways someone who clearly identifies as African American.
That's what I said. I said to him on the show. I said I'm pretty sure he took a picture with Trump.
Yeah, I think he does. I think he does like Trump.
Yeah, but and it also comes down to coaching. I just think I trust Mike Tomlin in the playoffs, and I think it's another thing where like they'd say the confetti test or whatever. I'm like, one, their quarterback has won a Super Bowl. Two, their coach has won a Super Bowl. So it's like I just trust it the same way I look at the Chiefs a little bit, where I just give them a little bit of a leg up because they've been there before, they understand playoff situations, and I think that they are less spotty than the Ravens. And so in the AFC, I think I wouldn't be surprised at all if they make it to the AFC Championship. I don't think they're going to go to the Super Bowl this year, but I believe in them playing spoiler in the AFC playoffs this year.
So you have them up at 5, Riley.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, Logan, as our resident Steelers fan, what's your reaction?
Yeah, I mean, I like the take. I like the optimism. I have them down at number 8, even behind Baltimore, and the reason is I just don't think Pittsburgh has that Super Bowl punch. I agree with you, though. They've definitely been more consistent than Baltimore, and in this hypothetical where you're talking about them playing spoiler, if the Steelers host a playoff game, I think they can beat almost anybody in the AFC. And if they play Baltimore...
Unless it was the Browns.
God, don't get me started.
Trust me, it'll be snowing in January. So,
What a disaster. Jameis cranked it up. Jameis must have been watching Looney Tunes or something on the sideline, man. He was locked in.
no, he was praying, and the horse was ready for battle. I mean, come on. What are you gonna do when the horse is ready for battle?
I should have known. I think if Baltimore goes to Pittsburgh too, I would pick Pittsburgh to win that game. That being said, I just know that Baltimore has that kind of offensive firepower at their apex where with Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson, to me, that's an offensive formula. You could ride to the Super Bowl with the Steelers. I see their ceiling as probably a second-round exit still right now. And that being said, if TJ Watt's available and George Pickens are available, this team doesn't have any holes. They can certainly go toe-to-toe with anybody.
I also love Freiermuth. Like, I think he's so reliable at tight end, you know?
And they've needed him. He stepped up the first week that Pickens was out, too. A fun stat, the Steelers, since T.J. Watt entered the league without T.J. Watt on the field, the Steelers win 9.1% of their games in comparison to, like, 68% when he's healthy. So it's imperative that those guys are healthy. I'm really surprised coming from a Browns fan that you're that optimistic about Pittsburgh, man.
I think it's one of those things. It's like the devil, you know. Like I've just watched the Steelers for this long, and I really like Mike. He's my favorite coach in the NFL.
Yeah.
Like
Same here.
I
agree.
love Mike Tomlin.
He's second for me, but yeah.
Behind Kevin.
Yeah.
I mean,
Stefanski's a monster too. He's a great coach.
No, he's a great coach. I'm just saying, like,
Sleeping
and I also
sleeping
try
on
to
the big
watch
coach upstairs, fellas. But all right,
Who's that? John Madden?
God.
God,
That's John
Sorry,
Madden
Riley.
for me. So
Yeah. No, I also am like, I'd come into this with a little bit less bias, having been less of a big football fan my entire life. I feel like I was a fan when I was like a kid, and then I kind of like took a break and wasn't super in like following sports the same way.
went to art school.
Yeah, and then I got back into it, and so like I just kind of look at it and I'm like, I'm trying to predict what's going to happen in the playoffs, and I just very much trust them to win games that people don't expect them to. I think if I would redo it today, I've thought about it more, and the more I talk about it, I do believe in the Vikings more than I believe in the Steelers, but I think the Steelers are playing in the AFC, and the AFC is weaker overall than the NFC this year. So I think that the Vikings have a tougher road than the Steelers do. So.
Graydon, what do you think?
About the Steelers? I fucking hate
or
it.
anything, I guess.
I fucking hate the Steelers, but I will say it was promising seeing them play that second game against the Browns without Pickens. Kind of funny that Pickens gave the bulletin board material and then didn't suit up. That's kind of classic George devil arc
Typical.
right there.
He's an idiot.
Yeah.
He's an idiot, man.
He said,
love him,
fuck
though.
you guys, don't know you. I'll be on a hoodie, just chilling over here now that I've fired up the defense. But I think it's promising what you see from, Mike Williams. And then, for like you said, Freiermuth steps up and kind of like can squat in that middle of the field in those zones. And I think seeing Russell activate the middle of the field over the last 4 weeks has been like kind of eye-opening. Like those first couple games when he came in, it was like, oh, there's the moon ball. That's what they needed. And then now as he's gotten more comfortable in that offense, he's like attacking the middle of the field, which we didn't even see him do in Seattle. And so we've seen like almost a step or a growth, a new trick for an old dog. And that's kind of very inspiring there. And that defensive front is really nasty with Highsmith and Watt when they're there. And so that's what they're going to rely on. I do like them, and I will say though, as an absolute hater to the core, we haven't seen it in the playoffs, even with complete teams in the last 6 years.
Yeah,
we've seen
You could almost extend it to 10, man. We haven't won a playoff game since 2016.
Yeah, and the last game that Ben Roethlisberger played in the playoffs, he cried, and they got absolutely blown out of the building. There weren't even fans there, which was pathetic. They still believed in the disease. The real disease was whatever Ben Roethlisberger had to make him look like that and act like that. So I don't know. As much as I love Mike Tomlin, I will say that as my last caveat about the Steelers is they haven't proved it in the playoffs in about a decade. So
last thing I want to say on this is I think it's a symbiotic relationship between Russ and the Steelers. I think it's mutually beneficial. I think Russ needed an organization to buy into him and believe in him, and I think the Steelers desperately needed a leader and a quarterback to lead the charge. And I think it's best case scenario for both of these guys. And that being said,
Mason Rudolph though. I mean, you had a textbook leader there for a second.
And also, I will say, he needed one organization to buy into him and one to believe in him. The Broncos bought into him so that the Steelers could believe in him for $1 million.
Yeah,
let me tell you, man,
reasonable price.
Mason Rudolph, that guy can really eat a helmet shot to the head, dude.
Yeah,
He can.
Yeah.
Here's my take on the Steelers. This is clearly the best version of the Steelers team that we've seen in several years, right? The reason that I have them at number 7 is I do think that this fully healthy is probably the best.
Whoa, you have them over Baltimore?
I do not have them over Baltimore. I have them at
okay.
number 8. My bad. I spaced out for a second.
Yeah, that's where you have the exact same.
I have
Got
Ravens
lost
and
in
Steelers.
Riley's eyes.
That's all right.
Yeah.
Aw.
It just comes down to offensive weaponry. I mean, everybody above them has so much more offensive firepower, and I actually think that's a great point that you brought up, Graydon. There were back-to-back weeks where Russ was throwing over the middle of the field at a rate that we really haven't seen in a long time. But then you have last week, and I get that there's no Pickens, and I get that you're facing an elite defense, but 163 yards of offense is 163 yards of offense. And, like,
they stunk.
that to me is just the red flag that comes back with Pittsburgh. I think they have the ability to beat anybody in a single given game because they can have a 6-sack, 4-turnover forced performance, and their offense can do enough. Do I think that they can do that for multiple consecutive weeks against offenses that are significantly better than theirs? I don't, and that's where I land on them at 8, and I do still slightly prefer Baltimore. Baltimore is more flawed, but Baltimore also has one of the great offenses that we've seen in a while.
One of the
and
greatest
I trust
passers of a generation, too. What Lamar is doing is he's chasing the passer rating record.
Oh, yeah.
That's something I
Yeah.
don't see like enough people talking about. Like he hasn't made a mistake.
And you know what's messed up too, dude, is, I do think Josh is my MVP, but you look at the tape late in games, while he's leading a game-winning drive, drop passes, right? The interceptions that he's thrown this year are off his receivers' hands. Like, dude, Lamar has almost played, damn near flawless football, yeah.
Yeah, and I know you guys both, like, before the season started, picked Josh as the MVP. You said that was going to happen. You're probably both going to be right. But we had, like, a similar, like, not an MVP conversation, but a debate before the season where we were just talking about how we felt like Lamar was so undervalued in comparison to Josh. After winning 2 MVPs, obviously hasn't been able to prove it much in the playoffs, but, like, it was always, like, Patrick and then Josh. And to us, we were like, I feel like Lamar... I would pick Lamar over Josh right now,
You
People even
son
said
of a
Patrick,
gun.
Josh, Burrow, and then Lamar.
And people still do that, And I
lot
get
of
that, but...
I mean, Josh was voted the most overrated player in the NFL this past offseason. So I totally agree on the Lamar being all-time special point. And I've said before, I don't know that there are 2 more transformative regular season quarterbacks in NFL history than Lamar and Josh because of how special they are as dual threats. They're one-man offenses. You take Lamar off the Ravens' offense, they've scored 16 points per game since he got there. With him, they score over 28. Josh has led the Bills to be the number 1 scoring offense over the last 5 years in totality, and he's done that without great offensive situations. To me, the difference is Josh has played at an unbelievably high level in the postseason, and I do still trust him more as a pure passer, and that to me is the difference. Like, to put Lamar above him, I need to see Lamar do it against an elite defense in the playoffs, probably
fair,
winning the game off the ideal script where he's having to carry you more as a passer.
Josh has been kind of the wild card round merchant, though, and Lamar has only played 1.
Well, define
has
wild
Lamar
card round
ever
merchant.
had
Like,
a
I'm looking
really
at
good-
Josh's
Well, I'm just saying, like
performance.
Lamar wins the division or gets the 1 seed so many times. He's had like a
Let's
bye
put it in
more
I
than
mean,
Josh is also... let me just get this stat off real quick. Josh is number 1 in total yards per game, total yards per playoff game, and he's number 1 in total touchdowns per playoff game played. Like, that's the one thing I'll push back on is, Josh is literally one of the greatest playoff performers ever, and Lamar has never had a game like that.
And Josh Allen hasn't thrown an interception in the Super Bowl either, which is super impressive.
Okay, all right.
Him and Lamar share that stat. So.
Neither of you guys.
Yeah, well, I threw one.
I'm going to defend my boy for a second here. In losses, the games that Josh played, 2021, obviously, you can't even overstate how much better that is than any game Lamar has ever played in the playoffs. Last year against the Chiefs, so much better. And then in wins, he's been significantly better, right? You can call him a wild card merchant or whatever, but 2021, he was perfect in that postseason in back-to-back games against a Patriots defense that was the number 2 defense in football that year. Like, Logan just said it, but number 1 in yards per game in the playoffs, total yards. Number 1 in total touchdowns. He's 26 total touchdowns to 6 total turnovers since 2020 in the playoffs. I just think as comparable as they are as regular season quarterbacks, they are not up to this point as playoff quarterbacks, and that's why I go Josh 2, Lamar 3. But Lamar's
Has he
amazing.
taken a big poop in the playoffs, though?
Josh? Well,
Yeah.
not.
Lamar had that big famous
He
poopy.
sure did. He sure did.
So that's something to think about.
It's a phenomenal point, and I really don't have a rebuttal.
Right,
So
right, yeah.
I don't know that Josh has ever laid down a big old shit in the playoffs.
So
Yeah.
So that's important.
Paul Pierce, on the other hand, boy, let me tell you.
he
Well, he
had to
a
poop
little
so bad
early.
they took him out in a wheelchair.
Yeah. Well, he got a little excited there and probably would have liked to wait a couple more minutes with that one. Okay. So I've got Ravens 7, Steelers 8. Riley, what do you have here? At number 8, I think we're up to now. All right, I'm gonna.
I know
remind
I
you,
have.
Riley.
I know who I have 9 and 10.
So we're all, I think
You
we
have-
have all the top same 8 teams.
Riley, you
Yeah.
have Packers 7, Ravens 8.
Yeah. And then I have. I know number 9 for me was, I believe, the Bucks.
No, don't jump the gun.
Hey,
Graydon.
Oh, what? I don't. What? We already talked about all those teams, right?
Hey, I have the
I guess that's a good
Steelers.
point. Okay.
Right. Yeah,
And-
Ravens. I mean, yeah. I basically just said I feel like it all comes down to that magic. It's like, you know,
You believe in magic.
they lost their identity in the playoffs last year. Decided not to run the ball against the Chiefs, and then I feel like, kind of overcorrected at the beginning of this season to kind of prove we know who we are. And with Derrick Henry there, it's obviously changed, and they've looked like an unstoppable team on offense for maybe the first half of the season, and then the defense looked bad, which is weird because their defense is always the other part of the identity of the Baltimore Ravens. And now it's just come down to, like, we've just seen weird games. I don't know what to expect from them, and I think if they build some momentum going into the playoffs, they're one of the most explosive teams. They could blow out somebody in the playoffs, or they could have a game that just looks absolutely awful and have a first or second round exit. I don't know what to make of the Ravens right now, and so that's why my trust in them has dwindled a little bit.
I think Baltimore just has to, like, not beat themselves in a certain way. Like, all their losses have kind of followed, like, it's weird that their offense is, sputtered out at inopportune times. They've had a lot of turnovers. And like you said, in some games, they just completely get away from running the football. And it's a week-to-week basis with ball and penalties, right? Like, Baltimore's one of those penalized defenses in football, too. And offensive lines. Like, it's been a hot damn mess for normally with a guy like Harbaugh. Like, they're so well coached. They're so prepared.
He
but
sucks.
This year,
don't-
I've had
I
those
don't
moments.
believe
I
it.
have had
No,
those
for sure,
moments.
for
Like,
sure.
and I feel like even with, like, I see Jim Harbaugh, and I just trust him more as a coach for some reason. That's so, like, weird. I've always thought of Harbaugh as one of those great coaches, and this year I see sometimes where I'm like, he doesn't look like he's in control right now, you know?
But Baltimore, even though they're inconsistent on a week-to-week basis, they're still one of those teams, unlike the Steelers. This, to me, is the Super Bowl bubble, where everybody below Baltimore, I don't really consider to be a Super Bowl team.
Tampa Bay.
I wish,
on.
man. Oh, I
Come on,
wish.
Baker.
Come on.
You don't have to sell Logan Camden on a little
You
Baker
don't.
Mayfield. He loves that
How
quacked up
weird is
white
it?
boy.
Before we leave the Baltimore conversation,
Yeah.
how weird is this Deontay Johnson thing?
He sucks. I told everybody he sucked.
They traded for him, and now he's excused from team activities as of this week.
He had.
They
I've
gave him
seen.
a suspension, and then now he's excused. They said, we fucked that trade up. Would they
He's
give up a
excused from the
fifth
table.
rounder?
Yeah, I think they gave up a 5th or a 6th. I mean,
He's terrible.
he's always been a bad locker room guy. He's struggled with, like, hand stuff, like inconsistency. Every
too.
pass.
Well, the technique, it's not necessarily intuitive, sure.
No,
I went,
no.
I went side to
just ended
side
up
at
mashing
first,
it.
yeah.
Oh, he struggles with hand stuff and consistency. The consistency of what comes out is very strange.
Oh, yeah, you got to go to a doctor about that.
Yeah, I just end up mashing it, man.
Yeah.
Let me put you in touch with my urologist. He's a good guy.
That was a terrible trade, and I love that the Ravens GM, whatever his name's escaping me now, but like watching the Hard Knocks, he's down on the field, he's so involved, like that just seemed like such a boneheaded move, and like that could have been an offensive lineman, that could have like any wide receiver you draft in the 5th round.
You
like,
just play him, dude. I mean, like, I don't get why
I guess,
he's not.
but like you have to trust that it's like you said, a terrible locker room guy. You can't play a guy that like hasn't learned the playbook, won't run his routes, won't
Stabbing
listen to Lamar at the
people's
line,
family
like,
members.
stabbing people's family members.
It's
You
bad
know,
for morale.
yeah, so.
And I do like the Ravens wide receivers though. I like Zay Flowers and
Yeah.
I like Bateman.
Bateman, yeah.
Bateman has looked great.
Andrews has
Jason
bounced back in a big
Bateman's
way.
new movie, Carry On Netflix now.
Yo, I
Yeah.
really want to watch that. No,
Me
lie,
too,
bro.
man. Let's all watch it tonight.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's have a movie night.
Oh, is it
with
already
that.
out? Yeah, let's have
Yeah,
a
it's
movie
out.
night.
They're saying it's the new Die Hard.
I watched 15 minutes of it last night. Didn't expect it to be a Christmas movie. That's all, and then I had to turn it off.
Yeah.
I knew I was gonna be up for the whole thing.
It didn't look like a Christmas movie. It looked like a terrorism movie.
Right, and I think it probably turns into that, but there's a lot of Christmas music in the first 15
Fun
minutes.
fact, it's actually Sean McDermott's favorite movie.
Well, he can appreciate a good hijacking.
Terrorism, he loves terrorism.
Loves Very good, Graydon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Isaiah Likely behind Mark Andrews too. He hasn't been great, but like beginning of the season, you saw what he's capable of. So I think if they reactivate him too,
Yeah.
Engage.
They've got offensive firepower out the wazoo. Here's the thing. I do prefer Detroit and Buffalo's offenses because I feel like with Detroit, so much less has to go right, and Buffalo's been more consistent. Like Baltimore, I still, just compared to those elite offenses, have the questions about what happens when they don't commit to the run game enough or the run game isn't successful enough, which 9 out of 10 times isn't a concern, but in the playoffs against an elite defense or against a Philly, against a Pittsburgh, right? The games they've lost where their offense has looked ugly, that combined with the fact that this defense is just not good, and now I even have some questions about Justin Tucker. Like, I just think so much has to go right.
More than questions. Severe
More than
doubt.
questions. Yeah.
And like you said, the defense is bad if they get down early. Whether Derrick Henry's running good or not, you can't just hand the ball off 20 times in the second half if you're down 21-7. So
I think if they had a
right
great defense, they would be up there with those teams easily because it's like they are activated to do what they can do on offense by having a good defense, but they are a super unreliable defense this year.
Very much so. Okay, here's where it gets quirky in the 9 and 10 spots because we all have the same teams in the top 8, different orders. Riley, you have Tampa in your 9 spot.
Yes, I do.
And explain.
I said in Cheap Seats episode about it where I'm like, as long as you have Baker Mayfield, Bucky Irving, Vita Vea, and Mike Evans on the field, they've been able to win games that I feel like going in, people are like, this could go either way, and they usually win those games pretty convincingly too.
They just won 40-17 against one of the best defenses in the league on their home field.
Yeah.
I
mean, they also went to overtime with the Panthers, which maybe the Panthers are just good now. We don't really know. But they're one, like, I wish that Tampa was in the AFC so bad because I want them to play spoiler, but I think the NFC is too stacked. So I'm just, like, it's almost like a tip of the cap to them. I'm like, this team is good and fun to watch and fun to root for, and I think they're better than people maybe expect them to be. I think where I start to doubt them is a little bit in coaching. I still disagree with that whole like playing Chris Godwin in that game that they were gonna lose regardless. You know, they still had everybody out on the field. I was like, what are we doing?
Plenty of time left.
I know we disagreed on that vehemently because
that's like if Jared Goff got hurt this last week scoring a touchdown with 12 seconds left.
Yeah, but
they were trying.
And you're right, Dan Campbell, very conservative coach, definitely doesn't take any risks. But
he definitely voted for Trump.
You think so?
Yeah.
I don't know. He's too much of like a city guy. Like I feel like he's like a local
city boy?
city dude.
Yeah, city
Is he a city boy?
Yeah, city
Where's
boy's
Dan
up.
Campbell from originally?
Is he from here?
No,
I
don't know.
He's got sort of like a vaguely southern accent. Very vaguely. Maybe he's just a raw guy.
Accent,
yeah, he's from Clifton, Texas.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, that makes way more sense.
That's how they grow them down there, big and white.
Yeah. But yeah, that's my thing with the Bucks. I don't trust them as much as the teams above them, but I want them. I want them to win. I like them a lot.
He wants them.
Yeah.
Who doesn't want a little Baker?
And I have the Rams there at
9.
All that he said about the Bucks is true for me. I'm really rooting for them. I think Baker's has that kind of gamemanship and competitiveness that he can go in to a Minnesota and win a game. I do believe that. He can go into Detroit and win a game. He's proved that this year.
Yeah.
He's just that different kind of guy. He never believes he's going to lose, yada, yada, go down the line of cliches. He's that guy, and I believe that. But the difference between them and the Rams, for me, is coaching and is offensive weaponry. I think we've seen an absolute breakout year from Kyren Williams. He's kind of solved his fumbling issues, which I know were a huge concern through at least the first 10 weeks. He was rushing touchdown leader, but had 8 fumbles or something. He's been holding onto the ball more, and we've seen them beat the Bills. We see when Puka's healthy, the kind of X factor he can be. and we know the kind of guy Matt Stafford can be in the playoffs. And so and Sean McVay is just like scary. Sean McVay should put the fear of God like into anyone, because if there's a guy like he drew up a scheme that beat the Bills. No one else besides John Harbaugh in week 5 has done that, and that's terrifying, especially with someone who seemingly is just like piecing it together. You know, there are all these doubts about the Rams of like, well, who's going to do this, who's going to do that, and as long as Cooper's out there, he had 0 catches last game in a wet game, whatever. He gets respect, and Puka does things that are just extraordinary. And then now you have a running back to open up Matt Stafford's deadly play action game. And the defense is Sean McVay coach, so they're reasonable. You know, you have players on that side that can hold. So I think the Rams now, you know, at 2 weeks ago are third in the division, and now they're leading that division. They're going to have a top 4 spot. They're going to get to host a playoff game. That's not a fun game. If one other team as a wild card team going in, like that's scary. And
they might host the Lions. It might be the opposite of last year.
Yeah,
true.
And that's not a game I want if I'm the Lions.
No. I have the Rams at number 9 too. I think the key word is scary, Graydon, as you said multiple times. They're just not an offense that you want to see, and they're not a team that you want to see when they're clicking. And they've had plenty of inconsistencies throughout the year, but now that they're starting to get some health continuity offensively, and they're running the ball better these last few weeks. Like, they still had an inconsistent offensive performance last week against the Niners, but if they can run the ball decently well, and they have Matt Stafford with these 2 receivers, and they have a McVay mind behind it, like, that's a really, really dangerous offense. I do worry about the defense. I mean, they're still 29th in points allowed per drive. I like what they've done with the defensive line, but, like, that's still overall on the year been a bad group. But when the offense is humming like this, they're just not a team that I want to see. They scare me significantly more than, honestly, any of the other teams. Like, I would probably say my top 8 are easily clear of the Rams at 9 because they've been more consistent throughout the year. But then the Rams are easily above anybody else who I'd have for that 10 spot because the ceiling with them is so high.
Yeah, and I think just one last thing is, like, I feel like I was discounting the Rams a little bit because they've lost to really bad teams this year, but they've beaten a lot of really good teams, which is they're only going to be playing really good teams when they get to the playoffs, and that's why I've said I do understand being scared of them. I just saw, that game against the Niners, I was just like, it's so uninspiring after the last week. You know, you score 6 touchdowns, then you score 0.
Yeah, but. To win a clean game and an ugly game is a great example, too, for a team going into the playoffs.
Yeah.
Like
That's fair.
They win a touchdown-less game, and then they win a game where they have to score 6, and you got to do both probably in the playoffs en route to the big one.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I've got both of your guys' teams in my 9 and 10 spot. I've got the Rams at 9. I've got the Bucs at 10. And I agree with a lot of what you guys said about the Rams. When you've got Stafford, Puka, Kupp, Kyron, it's a team you don't want to play. That is... Yeah. It's intimidating going up against them. And their defensive line with Kobe Turner, with Fisk, with Jared Verse, they've been a lot better in the second half of the year. And it's traditional, right? This is a really young defense coming into this year. This is normally when they figure it out, and they're hitting their stride at the right time. With Tampa Bay also scares me. And the first guy that I want to give, because they're probably going to host a playoff game too, which is not ideal, just because, and I know y'all had to love him when he was in Cleveland, but Baker is a gamer. And I don't know if Baker is ever going to get the credit that he deserves. To me, he is easily a top 15 guy on the planet, and he's a guy that can carry your offense in a way that I didn't. Even I was the biggest Baker guy. I said he got shit on way too much for that last year when he was in Cleveland, when he was clearly hurt, playing through an injury with a cancerous locker room. Like, there were a lot of bad things I didn't like about that last year. Even I, as high as I was on Baker, didn't anticipate this.
It was Odell's dad's fault.
Yeah, fuck Odell.
Fuck
Odell's dad.
There's nothing better than the receiver family member putting together the compilation of look,
putting
this guy's
together
open, throw him the ball.
My boy's open.
Where's Odell? Where's Odell gonna go? By the way, he got released.
Probably
fucking
to ESPN
cares?
too.
I think
Somebody's gonna pick him up before the playoffs.
Oh yeah, and he'll probably get another fucking Super Bowl.
He'll get a Super Bowl ring.
He'll go to Buffalo.
I will
go to
say
Kansas
though.
City.
I will say though. he was incredible for the Rams.
Oh, he was.
know.
No
Before he
doubt.
got
No
hurt.
doubt.
Like, that actually, he earned that one. But yeah, maybe he'll just stay in Miami and just not worry about football. Maybe he'll just, enjoy the life
TikTok
style there. But yeah, maybe he'll just do TikTok for another
Enjoy
month until
TikTok,
that's
Odell.
banned.
Outside of Cleveland, I think that Baker, he's just awesome. And he's got good personnel, too. Like you guys mentioned, Bucky, Rashad White, Godwin, Evans. They're good around him. But the one thing I disagree with you guys on about Tampa Bay is I think they are well coached. Now, I'm not the biggest Todd Bowles guy.
Right.
I'll say that. The offensive coordinator, I think Canales was brilliant last year with Baker, and I think their new offensive coordinator is really good. Some of the concepts that Tampa Bay draws up, they're really good for game planning against specific opponents, and they're really good at weaponizing routes to open up stuff all around the field, and Baker's good at operating it. So the Bucs are one of those teams that kind of like Pittsburgh. It's like when they throw their best punch, I think they can kind of knock down anybody because they can be so good. But they're right on that cusp of really good team, but not a real contender. But I think the Bucs deserve to be here.
I think coaching-wise, too, like that, I'm not saying they're poorly coached. I'm saying going up against Kevin O'Connell
There's a
or
difference.
Matt LaFleur or even Campbell, I just believe in the coaching a little bit more in the NFC across the board than I do with the Bucs. I'm not like, wow, Todd Bowles is really like I trust
Definitely.
Yeah.
Graydon, who's in your 10 spot?
Oh, the Bucs.
You have the Bucs. Okay, I have the Bucs in my 10 spot as well. I considered the Chargers here, which I know is ironic because the Bucs just beat their asses. But, my power rankings to some extent are, like, predictive. Like, it's more like my contender rankings. Like, who do I believe are the best 10 teams? Not necessarily, like, who earned this spot with a big win, but I don't fully buy it. Because if you have a quarterback as elite as Justin Herbert and you have a good defense with the Chargers do, like, I really like that formula. The thing with the Bucs is I think their defense has gotten to a place where they're solid enough. And this offense has been awesome. Like, Baker's playing at a top 10 level. You really can't give the dude enough credit. This offense has been firing. It's been an elite offense situationally in terms of scoring. And obviously the run game is infinitely better than it's ever been. They've beaten up on some shitty teams in recent weeks, but, like, this was a big win against a good team. And now there's a very, very strong chance they end the year 11-6, having won 7 straight, because their remaining games are Cowboys, Panthers, Saints. Saints without Derek Carr. And then I think they're going to be a team that a lot of people are high on, and they're saying, hey, they're the hottest team in football.
Yeah.
I don't know how high I'll get on them because I'm probably not the highest on this defensive ceiling, but the Chargers' lack of offensive firepower around Herbert really does concern me.
I was going to say, if you switch Mike Evans onto the Chargers, they switch spots in the rankings.
Right.
It's
100%.
You're just relying on a rookie wide receiver and Justin Herbert. And I
And
said
a
Justin
run
Herbert could be
game.
a sleeping giant. Like, if you sneak him into the playoffs and he's able to be unleashed, it's just, I don't think he can be able to be unleashed when
It's just Lad McConkey and Will Disley.
Yeah. And
McConkey the honky and the fellas. Yeah, Quentin drops a lot.
Yeah, in my 10th
Senior drops
spot,
a lot.
my 10th spot, I have the Broncos, and I have them over the Rams because I trust the Broncos defense over the Ram. Like, it's either Rams offense or Broncos defense, and I think Broncos defense really keeps them in games they shouldn't be in, and I've started to see from Bo Nix at least the attitude. Like, I obviously he's been pretty good at least for a rookie. He's had a great season, but he has that attitude of, like, he wants to really go for it.
Throw picks. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. At least last week he was like, you know what? I'm gonna get out there and just throw some picks. But
It's the holiday spirit. You got to be
3
generous.
tutties, though.
right, yeah, generous. But yeah, I love their defense so much. It's made me just like, all right, I think that they are another team I could see play spoiler, and I kind of just play with those last 2 spots because I think we all agree on those 8. I just, like, this week was like, you know what? Maybe the Broncos go win a playoff game. Yeah. Just one, but maybe they do that.
I had Houston as my bubble team, if that's interesting to anyone.
That's crazy. I had the Commanders as my bubble team.
Yeah,
We're all
same.
kind of all
Commanders
over
were
the
11.
place.
Yeah, we have 4 different 11s because I had the Chargers in 11.
I have given up on the Commanders. I am out. I am so out. I've sold all my stock. I'm over it. Seeing Spencer Rattler almost beat you down there at the end of that game just lets me...
The Commanders kind of got hoed at the end of that game, in my opinion, at least. There was some weird clock stuff. But true, if they had started Spencer Rattler instead of Zesty Jake Haener, maybe they win that game.
That's what I said. I was like, dude, Jake Haener.
He was so bad. By the way, a lot of my friends played lacrosse with his brother growing up.
Okay, great.
We grew up in
Cliff Kingsbury too. The tape gets out on him after 6 weeks. We've seen this time and time again. We saw it in Arizona, and now it just seems like that offense is a little more predictable than ever. I know if Brian Robinson comes back, that's an extra.
He's been back.
Or whatever. If they get going back, they just don't look like the same team. Like they were 8-1, and they just look super beatable now. Like they seem very one-dimensional. Their best weapon is 3rd and 26 when they run 4 verts, and then Jaden just goes ballistic on some insane scramble.
Scary Terry, man.
Yeah.
I think
I love it.
I probably am higher on their offense than you are still. I mean, I thought that they shredded the Titans, and then they got off to a really good start in the Saints game, and then, they slowed down in the second half. But I just don't think the defense is serious when you're talking about playoff conversations. It's been a bad defense all year. But I like the Commanders. I don't love them. The Broncos...
That's why Houston's my bubble team, is the defense.
Yeah, the defense is awesome. No, that's fair. I mean, when you have that defense and you have C.J. Stroud... It's just they've been so mediocre overall for a while now this year. And with the line issues, Stroud hasn't been as good as I would have hoped for this year. They're knocking on the door. The Broncos, the defense is amazing, obviously. I'm probably going to stay on the side of the skeptic. And they have been beating some really bad teams as of late. Here's a crazy stat. Last 3 weeks, they've won all these games, but they've been outgained by the Raiders, the Browns, and the Colts. They just have 10 takeaways.
What's wrong with the Browns?
Well, the Browns, I think it goes without saying.
Jameis threw for a dillion yards that game. So.
Jameis did throw for a dillion yards. He threw for more yards than Bo because they outgained
than anyone ever on a Monday night game besides the Big Tom.
Is that true?
Yep.
Yeah. Boy, he was slinging that
Jerry
rock
Jeudy. Jerry Jeudy is one of 4 wide receivers with 1,000 receiving yards this year.
Doesn't Jameis hold the single game record for you guys now?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, it was a very low bar, wasn't it? It was about.
Don't disrespect Frank. Don't disrespect Frank Ryan like that.
Ryan Sipe. No,
Come on, let's talk about
Otto Graham.
Yeah.
No, Otto, one of the greats. I would never disrespect Otto. Charlie Fry, I'll disrespect, sure.
Jeff Garcia.
Legend.
Spurgeon Wynn.
We got to get
Sean
Cody
Kaiser?
Kessler.
One last thing I will say just about the Commanders conversation is in the NFC, I worry about the reality where the Eagles take the top spot, get the bye, the Lions are at 2, and the Commanders are the 7 seed, and they have to play them because the Lions have struggled. The recent Lions have struggled against quarterbacks who can scramble, who can move. And I worry about the Commanders ruining the Lions' season and upsetting them in the first round.
That's a good point.
Bring them on.
I think that's a good point. I mean, the Lions are going to play a ton of man. You're playing that much man. You're going to be susceptible to a great mobile quarterback who can scramble and create plays out of structure. That's part of the reason I think Josh was such an exceptionally tough matchup for them. Any final thoughts on NFL stuff before we move on to a quick little holiday music game and then we let you guys go and Logan,
where's
you stay
Travis
in your
Hunter
cage?
and Shador going?
That's a good question.
Let's talk draft real quick.
Go ahead, Logan.
I would probably take Travis Hunter one, although there are some I do like some of the edge rushers and offensive linemen in this class, so I would take Hunter number 1 though. I think he's probably the best player in the class. But Carson was getting on me. I think the most interesting aspect of the first round is where does Ashton Jeanty go? Like, how high do you take him?
Well, I was just getting on you because you said you thought he might go 1. He's not.
I mean, I just think he's one of the best running back prospects I've ever seen.
He's certainly not a better prospect than Saquon.
Or
Saquon
Travis
didn't go
Hunter.
Or Bijan Robinson. I'm just saying compared to recent running backs.
And I get it.
Bijan was as good as a running back prospect gets, and he went
My thing
8th.
is,
That's just where
I
we're
guess
at, I think.
for whoever takes him, you just want to make sure that you have everything
Be nice
else
to
you
him.
need because of
You cuddle
positional
him.
value.
I just don't think he slips to the Cowboys. Like everybody keeps saying the Cowboys.
Please
are
don't
gonna
send
get
him to Dallas, man. That's
and
gonna be
I
a
would hate him in
disaster.
Dallas. I don't want to see that. Like,
I just think their line fucking blows.
Well, that's what sucks about getting drafted in the top 10 as a running back. Who's got the best line there? Like Carolina maybe has the best
probably.
line.
But they have
Chuba. I know they have Chuba, but they have the best line situation.
I think the Browns take him at 7.
That would be kind of
Chubb
fire.
broke his foot.
Browns take an offensive lineman. Who's the guy? There's some big ass offensive
Kelvin
line.
Banks.
Yeah, I think so. they're gonna take an O-lineman because their shit was bad, and they Jedrick Wills had a real regressive year, and that team, when we rebuild, Andrew Berry's whole philosophy is like trenches inside out. If they take Genty, I'll be very surprised.
Wow.
If whoever takes Hunter, it's one of those probably those top 2 spots, right?
Vegas Giants.
Vegas or
I think
New York Giants. Then who's the holdover quarterback? Because I feel like
I feel like are those teams pressured to take a QB?
I think both those teams go QB. I think that to me, and I'll watch more of all these guys. Right now, I think that Cam Ward is my favorite talent.
Me too. Yeah.
I like Alar. Shadur is very talented.
Oh, Alar's going back to school.
He has problem. Oh, is he officially?
He's going back to Penn State.
Yeah, he announced.
Okay. So I think it's going to be Cam and Shadur who go top 2, and I think because it's the Raiders and Giants, right now, obviously, this is all susceptible to change. If you got the Jags, if you got the Pats in the top 2, that would change things. One of those teams would take Travis. But I think Cam and Shadur will be the first 2 quarterbacks off the board.
Yeah, I think that there's a chance that the Giants take Travis and sign like a 1-year Aaron Rodgers.
This is an interesting QB class. I think technically
great.
Darnold could come up if he's not franchise tagged, but he'll probably get tagged.
Jameis Winston will be a free agent.
Justin Fields will be a free agent. Russell Wilson will be a free agent. There are some guys that you could get as a bridge, you know.
I mean,
and then who knows if
Brock
goes back to the Niners, he might be like one of those, like what we thought was going to happen with Dak Prescott, where it's like the huge money like for Brock Purdy somewhere.
Can't pay Brock. God, you can't pay Brock big money. I pity anybody who does that, but at the same time,
I think you could give him the Baker. You give him the Baker.
I wouldn't even give him. I mean, that's the best case scenario, but even.
No, but Baker also, that's a crazy team-friendly deal.
It is a value deal for sure. For sure.
At that. This is what we've been saying. There needs to be a mid-market for quarterbacks because the notion that you're going to pay Brock Purdy, Tua Tagovailoa, Sam Darnold comparable money to what you pay a Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes, you're never going to
or a Daniel
with
Jones
that.
for that matter.
Daniel Jones, $40 million a year. And let me tell you something, he should have gotten 60.
Yeah.
With
I
eyes
just
like
don't
that.
see how you overcome that.
Talk about getting lost in someone's eyes, or
He's
one of them at least.
Crazy-looking bastard, isn't he? Vanilla Vic, they call him. Deservedly so.
Yeah.
Daniel Jones has acid trip eyes, man.
Yeah. I found out that I'm pretty sure Vanilla Vic was coined by Bengal.
Nice.
Is that
true? That's cool. I believe that.
Yeah.
I believe he's a Giants fan.
Yeah, he's a big Giants fan.
How about that? Need a break from the crowded stores and endless gift lists? Restore your zen and embrace the natural power of hemp this holiday season with Via. This holiday season, unwind and recharge with Via. Whether you're enjoying a quiet evening at home or embracing the festive cheer, Via's premium THC and THC-free gummies will help you find your perfect holiday balance.
Via is well renowned for their award-winning THC and THC-free gummies and vapes, THCA flower, soothing topicals, and calming drops, all crafted with the highest quality hemp sourced from trusted, independently owned American farms. And the best part, Via legally ships to nearly all states in the U.S. in discreet packaging directly to your door with a worry-free guarantee, no medical card required. So if you're 21 plus, check out our link to Via's website link in our description and use code NERDSESH for 15% off.
I love Via. It makes me feel good. It's affordable. It's accessible. It's got whatever you're looking for. THC free all the way up to 100 milligrams of THC. You're going to have a good time. Whatever you're looking for, there's variety within the product. I highly recommend it.
So this holiday season, give yourself some peace of mind. If you're 21 plus, check out the link to Via in our description and use the code NERDSESH to receive 15% off. After you purchase, they ask you where you heard about them from. Please support our show and tell them we sent you this holiday season. Enhance your everyday with Via.
All right, enough football talk.
Enough football, man.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
We're going to do a holiday music draft. We're each going to go around. We're going to take 5 songs. They're going to be the best, or maybe they're going to be the worst. I feel like that doesn't need any more explanation. We're giving...
Yeah, I mean, I love it.
Great in the first pick because Riley was starting all the power rankings.
So easy. Just so simple, really. One of the
You got to have a board. Please tell me you have a board in mind.
Yeah, of course I have a board. I'm going with Snowed In by Jeremiah and Chance the Rapper as my number one pick. That's my favorite Christmas song probably of all time. That mixtape that they did for Christmas, I will listen to it every year until the end of my dying days. They really did something with that one. Hearing Jeremiah sing about Christmas joy is something a lot of people are sleeping on.
How about when he sang about birthday sex? Guy loves
I
holidays.
don't know if I'm familiar with that one.
Oh, it's a great little ditty.
Okay.
It's a great
Ditty.
little tune.
Wow.
Whoa, did he?
No,
A
different.
great little ditty.
You sure? Yeah, that's
All right. Sure.
You know, I'm from a different time when Diddy didn't have the same connotation it does today.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, totally.
Riley, you get the second pick.
I'm gonna go, and this is gonna be a curveball for sure. I'm gonna go with Santa Claus is Coming to Town by Bruce Springsteen.
not much of a curveball. One of the biggest of all
I think
I mean,
Graydon
it's a
was
curveball because,
Can I say
you know,
something?
Yeah.
Real quick, I'm just going to give my analysis. Here's where I think Graydon went wrong. Graydon got cute with the first pick and he didn't think about value. You got to
Totally.
think who's going off the board early. You could have gotten that as a steal in the
I'm
fourth or
not
fifth
interested
round.
in that song. I'm not interested in what you pick. I have
Wait
5
until
in
you
my
hear
mind.
what I pick.
I have 5 in my mind.
Okay,
that
all
are
right.
all deep cuts that you'd never choose. I'm secure in who I'm
All right.
picking. None of my picks are going to leave the board.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
One thing about Graydon, and he told me to say that he's very pretentious.
Thank you, Riley.
So he's
That's-
going to pick.
it's a
He's
great
going to pick
trait.
stuff that you
never
never heard
even
of,
thought
and
of.
you don't even understand why it's good.
Yeah, I
it's
love
like yeah, for sure.
I've
I
got
went with
Mozart's Christmas in D minor.
yeah, he didn't do that.
the reason it's a curveball, by the way, that I
fuck,
picked the Bruce song is because obviously I'm an Andy Williams and Dean Martin and Bing Crosby, like those. I'm gonna go with obviously I'm gonna get into that crooner bag.
Anybody who hit their wife.
Yeah,
essentially.
anybody who really gave it to their wife back in the day. I'm going to go with that stuff. But I went with Bruce because I think there's a lot of value there. And we listened to it yesterday, and he mumbles about walking on the boardwalk at the beginning of it, which is only something that Bruce Springsteen can do. And I just wish that at the end of the song, he would have just been like, Christmas in the USA.
Yeah, that would have been nice.
You know?
That would
That
have been really
was
nice,
But
man.
it's a classic,
Yeah,
So-
look at these music guys picking music. Logan, who you got?
I will say I've binge watched some Hivemind stuff when I'm bored. You guys, your worst songs of all time brackets kill me. And you guys have
Because you like them all?
you've put me on with some of the most horrid shit I ever heard.
Right.
Yeah.
Gucci Gang by Drake Bell might be the worst of all time. I don't know if
can't
there's
believe
something
it.
close. I can't
Hey,
believe
man.
that song exists.
Take it easy on the guy, all right?
Yeah, I believe that what you mean to say is Drake.
Also,
Campana.
Wagwan Delilah. There's some stinkers, man, for sure.
Oh, Wagwan Delilah's kind of awesome, though.
Wagwan Delilah.
You guys let me get the steal of the draft. I can't believe this didn't go number 1 overall. I'm going to take Last Christmas by Wham. I
Yeah,
just
it's
won
a
the
great
draft.
pick. It's a
Yeah,
phenomenal.
that's a fun song. Everybody likes hearing that.
Yeah, come on. What
Jesus,
the
what
hell?
an
I wanna hear
obnoxious
George
Michael. My ass.
Fucking homophobes. I can't stand you guys.
Whatever, dude.
I was considering targeting Last Christmas. I'm not gonna lie, that's an absolute banger, and I think it's a phenomenal pick. I'm gonna go with Someday at Christmas by Stevie Wonder.
Oh, that one was actually kind of on my board. That's a good pick. There.
Oh,
No,
oh my God.
Chill.
Sorry, did I hurt you guys?
You're not even
ears?
gonna see the one I'm picking coming next. So
Yeah.
Okay, I believe
There's
it.
no
I
way
totally
you
believe
would.
it.
He accidentally played
So, are we
one note
going-
of it, and I knew what it was.
We're going snake or serpentine here.
I think
snake or serpentine.
so. Those are the same thing. You mean
Oh,
fixed
my
or
fault.
snake?
My fault. True.
I think let's go with a fixed draft just because
I like that.
There's so many options.
okay, so
Graydon's
me
gonna
again.
Graydon's gonna take some Gaelic song from the 1600s.
Easy, buddy.
Hey, you don't-
whoa,
you can't say
whoa.
gay lick
George
anymore.
Michael's
Oh,
on the
fuck.
board. All right, chill.
All right, I gotta
right.
issue an apology.
I'm
for that
going
one.
with the Mistletoe Jam by Luther Vandross. It's
Never
one
heard
of the
it.
biggest bops of all time. Tony's in the other room, and he is nodding his head, and I can't even see him, and I know it.
Wow.
It's it goes a little something like, "This is the Mistletoe Jam," and it does that for about 8 minutes.
That's awesome. I've never heard it.
You will love it.
All right, Riley.
I'm gonna go with Silver Bells. I believe that's by Santa. I'm not sure exactly who sings it, but I'm pretty sure it's Santa. I love
Yeah.
Silver Bells. I feel like people just they're not talking about it enough
Yeah.
in this conversation,
Mm-hmm.
Silver Bells.
Come on, Riley.
Silver Bells. It's Christmas time in the city. Come on, man.
That
Love
was
you.
supposed to be a
you too,
quartet. I got in there with Riley. We made it a duet.
I'm good. I
Nobody
like
else
my
sang.
R&B and jazz stuff. You know, I don't like that old traditional crooner bullshit.
That's
Okay.
a great. Yeah, okay.
That's all right, man.
Logan?
Y'all left me with I'm taking Feliz Navidad. Man. I got it in multiple. I got it in multiple languages, bro. Come on.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's my fucking dude, Jose Feliciano. He got blackballed by the industry for putting a twist on the Star Spangled Banner at a Dodgers game, and he never got the career he was deserved. And I'm gonna make the biopic one day.
I would love to see that.
Thank you. He was
Yeah.
blind.
So far, I will say, Logan, I appreciate your picks because you picked a gay guy and then a bilingual.
Oh wait, I'm about to get.
song.
If you guys let me get my next pick, it's over. I'm hitting all the groups.
What do I want here? I'm going
have a
to
board?
go. I do have a board, Graydon. I'm looking at it right now. Some things have been plucked from it. I'm
Hey, Stevie Wonder, you
taking
wanna be a part of this team?
Snowman by Sia.
Sia.
Whoa.
Sia.
Are you guys familiar with the Sia Christmas album?
No.
Oh my God. I got to put you guys on.
Please.
Snowman is actually really good, and there's another song. I won't take two Sia songs, but there's another song, Candy Cane Lane, that I considered. You may have heard these songs and may not know it. I really like them. I really enjoy them. So I'm going to take a modern pop Christmas, and yes, it's by a woman, so that's empowering, obviously. While we're handing out points, thank you. Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
And that's my second round pick, and I did it for women, and I did it for women everywhere.
Nice.
And I did it
Hell
for
yeah.
Christmas.
Oh, joy, joy, joy.
Okay,
Life is
Graydon.
beautiful.
My third pick is going to go to Christmas for Cowboys by John Denver.
Okay.
It was a staple in my house growing up, and it's about that lonely cowboy who doesn't need the presents that are wrapped under the trees for the people in the city. All he needs is the sky and the wide open range, and I think that's a beautiful thing on Christmas.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Picturing John Denver on a horse going through the snowy plains of Colorado. If that doesn't bring you a little light to your
An erection.
cold,
His name's
cold
just John Denver, right? He's not like from Denver.
Rocky Mountain High,
okay. All right. You're right. You're right.
Colorado.
But he
is
also
from
sings
Colorado.
about West Virginia, so how can you tell? There's really no way
And
of
Toledo,
knowing.
Ohio.
Yeah, he does.
He has a song called Saturday Night in Toledo, Ohio. It's about how boring it was. All right. And that's true, and you can look it up.
That's awesome.
But my next pick, man, let me think here.
Yeah, pick the Ariana Grande one. We all know you want
Yeah,
to.
you're right. All right, Santa Tell Me, Ariana Grande.
Ooh. Can I ask you?
Do you know this one? You guys know this song?
Sing it for me.
Santa, tell me.
Oh, yeah.
You really there.
Yeah.
Don't
That's good.
make me fall in love again if you won't be there next year.
Whoa!
That's a great song.
Tony,
who's
quit
Googling
clicking
stuff?
around.
Tony. Sorry, Tony pulled up Google.
Jesus. Whoa.
Yeah, I'm going with that one. It's an absolute banger, and I love it so much.
Are you guys
to
concerned
say
about Ariana Grande? Have you guys seen Wicked?
I've seen Wicked. I really liked it. I
did
was
too.
surprised by how much I liked it. I like musicals, but I just like going and was like, the musical movie. It's never
Sure.
as good. Whatever. I thought they did a great job with it. I don't like to concern myself with the health of celebrities because I feel like that's their business.
Carson,
you know?
you're concerned she's on Ozempic.
I'm just concerned. She looks very gaunt, man.
If you take enough Ozempic, will you disappear?
Dude, I'll tell you what, the thing that made me angrier than anything at Thanksgiving or Christmas time, right, when you go and see your family, I've always been a skinny guy because my metabolism is just really fast.
Yeah.
Every time I see my uncle, he always hits me with the, damn, man, you look like you need a cheeseburger. And I tell you what, as a skinny person, there's nothing that infuriates me more. It's like, Uncle Jeff, if I could gain weight, I would, man.
Dude, it's my Uncle Jeff, too.
You have an uncle?
Jeff, I have two Uncle Jeffs, but one of them always
Wait.
does.
Who's your guy's mom? Could be the same guy.
Come on, that's none of your the same guy. So now my mom's a guy.
Got him.
No,
That's
I
not
understood
what
what
I
you were
was
saying. Whatever. I'm saying my Uncle Jeff always when he sees me, he's like, dude, eat a sandwich. What's going on with you?
Yeah, sandwiches. You know what you guys really need to do if you want to gain weight is
Is
drink 12 beers a
Yeah,
day.
it's beer, huh?
Yeah,
It's a concentrated weight gain, right in that gut.
exactly. Right. in
That's
that
where you
gut.
want it.
I got some plans for after this then. That's a great idea. All right, so I've secured hopefully the gay vote. I've hopefully secured the
Blind and
that-
Hispanic vote.
Hispanic vote, yes.
Both huge.
Now I'm going to get the Christian national vote. I'm going to take Silent Night, and it's over for you guys.
Oh, that's a terrible pick.
It's an awful pick.
Yeah.
I sung that in church every year, bro. I'd be belting.
Probably flat as shit too.
Yeah, I mean that's
There's
the
probably
thing
more
is-
like a silent crowd afterwards. They're like,
As they would
the
say
priest-
in German.
Go ahead.
please,
German, please with the German.
with German stuff.
Stille Nacht, heilige Nacht,
And that feels racist for some reason.
alle schläft, einsam wacht.
Yeah, the Einsam Fuck. Mark is like, yeah, you don't know.
It's
We don't
a-
want to hear that.
It's a harsh language. I sang that as a
Four
boy
white
in
guys
choir.
and one of them singing German Silent Night on a screen.
One of
I
them's
don't know.
one of them's
After the
bald.
other one,
Yeah.
after the other one bragged that he's getting the Christian nationalist vote now. for
Yeah,
this
this
one.
is not
How
a
do,
good
wait. How do they say round yon virgin in German? I want to know that.
Okay, hold on.
Why do you want to know that part?
Because it's funny.
okay.
Heilige Nacht, alle schläft,
It goes. It's the part that's like.
Oh yeah, I don't know. I forget. Sorry, I let you
thought
down.
you were
I don't speak
trilingual.
German. I no, that's not one of my three. I just sang it once in choir as a kid, and I remember it for some reason.
Escrucci.
You're a sharp guy. You're
Yeah,
smart.
sharp
You're
as fuck,
smart.
man.
Like, I don't do the
No,
things. that
I
you
have a
do.
memory disease. I think
Books
where I
and
remember too much.
Yeah,
That sucks, man.
I've seen too much, but I don't remember it.
Well, we've all got our Uncle Jeff, so to speak. All right, I'm going to take "Blue Christmas" by Elvis. Any questions?
Another shitty.
No,
white,
yeah, just
shitty
a
white
terrible
guy
pick, yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
White guy
You guys
pick,
don't
yeah.
like that song?
No. Not
Why
a
not?
big fan.
Known racist Elvis Presley, man. Come on now.
All right.
I do kind of like it. I'm a country guy myself, but it's almost it's become a caricature of itself.
But I don't mind that. I don't mind a character.
I prefer authenticity and originality, and I value those things in my artistry. So if that's not for you, I
Well,
understand. You kind
maybe
of
it's
pop
because-
on your.
Yeah. No, I didn't really have anything good to say.
You guys are
Yeah,
stepping
yeah.
on each other's feet.
Yeah.
You gotta learn to dance. Dance with me, darling. It's you pick. Your pick. Yeah. Sorry.
It's me.
All right.
It is you.
What
it
is this?
you,
My
Graydon.
fourth.
This
Yeah,
is
it's
your
your
fourth
fourth.
pick.
Shitter. Fuck. I'll go with Christmas in L.A. by Wolfpack.
Yeah.
That's an absolute jammer.
You guys definitely don't know it.
And I see
Probably
the
don't
looks on
know
your
it.
faces. It's inquisitive, and I see jealousy. I see that it's dripping right off your glossy
super
white faces.
It's a funk song.
Yeah, it's really good. You'll have to give it a spin.
How about
Ann
the
Arbor,
Christmas in
Michigan
Harlem?
funk troupe. Wolfpack.
How about it? That's a good one.
That is a good one, actually.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar.
Christmas.
Graydon is just deep cutting the shit out of me, and I'm
Yeah.
just. I'll listen to all of them after. No, I won't.
I hope you do. And
Riley?
if you don't like them, I'll pay you.
I've got
right.
I got one that nobody's thinking of here in my fourth spot. I'm gonna go with the Heat Miser and Snow Miser song from Year Without a Santa Claus. Yeah.
Sneaky
Wow.
pick. Well played.
Yeah.
Well played.
That's a really nice pick. Fucking A.
Big band, what do you even call that? Big band jazz? It's not even really jazz.
No.
I don't know what it is. But
Show tune. It's
Yeah,
a
it's
show
like
tune.
a-
I'm
it's like-
Mr. Heat Blister.
I'm Mr.
The sun. Da-da-da-da. Yeah, that's a great choice.
Yep.
I got a buddy who looks just like Snow Miser, if you can believe it.
Oh, he's an old queen?
Yeah, an old gay queen.
Yep.
You don't have to say gay before queen.
I know. But I'm just making sure there is an old queen. Well, there was. She
Yeah.
passed away.
She is now since dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, I played no hand in that.
No, okay.
Just over here on good
Says
old
says the
American
guy
soil.
in the OJ jersey. Okay.
Yeah, come on, dude.
I'm gonna
All
take
right.
I'm gonna take Jingle Bell Rock, man. I can't believe it's still on the board.
Giddy up jingle horse.
Yeah, we just we have a video that's coming out. It's not out yet, where we talk about how it's weird that they say jingle horse. And,
Yeah.
it feels like a slur for a reindeer.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, giddy up, jingle horse.
That's a great point. I don't think that's the preferred nomenclature for the reindeer.
No, I think they want to
No.
be called by their names, like Blitzen and Prancer and stuff like that.
Yeah.
He's
Dagger,
a special horse that rounds up all the other horses.
That's what a
Right.
jingle horse is?
Yeah.
You just looked it up?
Yeah. No, I knew that off the
Oh,
top
wait,
of my
really?
head. I had a bunch of jingle horses. Yeah.
Oh, so it's like a shepherd dog.
Exactly.
Shepherd horse.
Yeah, it's like, okay, but it's a horse.
wakes him up.
Is
He's
it a
like-
real horse, the jingle horse?
Yeah, it's a real horse. He's
It's
just
not a
the
reindeer.
he's the jingle horse though.
Okay, so it's a horse with bells that walks around and rounds up the reindeer?
Well, yeah, in Jingle Bell Rock, they're not riding Santa's sled. He's talking about taking like a traditional, like a carriage that you'd see in like Central Park or something.
Oh, see, you know what the thing is that I don't pay attention to the lyrics of Christmas.
Oh my God,
songs
your guys'
pretty much
video
at
is
all.
totally ruined.
Yeah, this is.
You got to scrap it.
You ruined our integrity.
Well, I'm just saying. I mean, you got this whole thing about the reindeer slur, and it's all ruined now.
Oh, it's still funny.
Oh,
That's
we're
the
gonna
thing,
keep
yeah.
it in. We're gonna
No,
keep
It
it's
doesn't have
all
to be
ruined.
correct. No, it doesn't have to be correct. That's the difference in our industries. I don't have to be factual. I can just say Jingle
neither
Horse
do
is
we.
a slur for reindeer.
Yeah.
That's a great point. That's a phenomenal. It's a good point. Okay, what do I want here? I'm slightly regretting taking Blue Christmas by Elvis, although I'd never let it show. I'm considering. I almost said out loud what I was considering. I'm fucking blowing this thing wide open. I'm taking All I Want for Christmas Is You by Mariah Carey. I don't care if it annoys people. I think it's a banger.
Yeah, you know
That's
what?
bold.
That's fine. That's like picking the Chiefs for the Super Bowl. I get it.
It kind of is because I feel like they're obviously great, but also a lot of people hate. A lot of people hate on All I Want for Christmas
Incredible
Is You.
value in the 4th round, though.
I mean,
Yeah, I
I
would
think
say so.
Yeah.
It's
Might
it's
be an old
probably
quarterback,
divisive.
but he's got talent.
Yeah, I got Bucks Brady.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Drafted Brandon Whedon.
Well, hopefully not. Hopefully not Brandon Whedon, Chris Wenke. I want the
Wait till
Bucks
Mariah
Brady.
Carey's Diddy tapes get leaked.
No,
you know
we're
she's
not
involved.
doing this.
Oh,
What are you
my.
saying? Don't say stuff like that.
She's been in the industry a long time, is all I'm saying.
All right, Graydon. On that note,
go ahead.
this is your last pick.
My last pick.
And if
I
you
gotta-
pick a Diddy Christmas,
All right,
you're
you got
disqualified.
me. I'm going with "God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen" by Roy Hargrove. I gotta get some jazz representation here, and that is the greatest 21st century horn player we've ever had, and it's beautiful. Trading solos, whipping that jazz thing around, and that's one that you couldn't expect to be that funky, but by the time you get to the bass solo, you're breaking a sweat.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
That's one that's usually sung by a priest on Ambien.
Yes,
You
exactly.
know? So,
It's fun to hear it like.
yeah, that's the one that we were doing the whiplash bit to earlier. But yeah, because usually it's like, God rest ye merry gentlemen.
Oh, wait, yeah, I totally know the song. Yeah.
But this one's like.
And it's like,
That sounds awesome. I'm totally
It is
sold
awesome.
on this one. I'm totally
Smoke a
sold.
cigarette to it and
I'm going to drink 12 beers and smoke 5 cigarettes to Graydon's playlist later,
welcome
man.
to my life, buddy.
it's awesome.
Hell yeah.
With my last pick, I'm going to bring it back around to a classic, and I don't even know who sings it or even what it's called. I'm going to go with Chestnuts Roasting Over an Open
I
Fire.
believe that's what it's called, and I believe that's Bing. Bing made that one
Okay.
famous. Or Nat King Cole.
Isn't
did a
it
version
just
too.
called like Christmas something? Like
Christmas
the word
song?
of Christmas or some shit.
Let's see. That's
Yeah.
a great choice, though.
Chestnuts roasting.
Yeah, it's
on
the
open
Christmas
fire.
song.
Yeah, the Christmas
Yeah.
song.
See,
does
that
Nat
was
King Cole
early
do a
enough.
version?
That was early enough where you could just take that. You could just call it the Christmas song.
Yeah, yeah.
It was the only one at the
I
time.
wasn't even thinking about streaming numbers either, but it was a genius, heady play.
Yeah,
Great
totally.
SEO play. Great
What's
SEO
the
play.
Christmas song? Let's look it up. You know,
Yeah.
you guys should have been called the Sports Podcast.
I know.
fucked up.
If only we had gotten in a little earlier.
Yeah, the
That's what
40s.
Bill Simmons did. They literally just used to call him the sports guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't do
great.
that these days.
Smart move.
All right,
Logan?
so there's my 5. What do you got, Logan?
Dude, there's a ton of good songs still on the board. I'm surprised they didn't go. Like Frosty
I
the
told you I wouldn't take one.
Frosty the Snowman, dude. I'm going to listen to all of Graydon's songs, but I've never heard of half of these.
Talking about Frosty the Snowman, who is Carson Brown?
Is it Parson Brown? Right?
Who's that?
Oh, I was gonna say.
We'll
didn't
pretend that
didn't
we are Parson Brown.
Didn't we
Yeah.
look it up?
I think it's not a real guy.
Oh, it's just a mate. It's like
That's
Kinda
my
like-
recollection because I feel like this is an age-old debate now. Parson Brown, who is he in Winter Wonderland? I think. Okay, hold on. Smooth says Collins Dictionary defines a parson as a priest in the Church of England with responsibility for a small local area. So maybe a local Anglican priest.
See, that's for some
Parson
reason
is a
that
title,
makes
not a
sense.
name. That could be it. But I'll look for some more conclusive evidence.
Thank you.
All right, I think I'm going to take this one. I loved when I was a kid. It's a classic. I'm going to take Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer.
Another annoying one.
Yeah, not my
That's a
favorite.
classic,
Not my
bro.
favorite pick.
Yeah. Are you guys gonna do
only second to Uncle Jeff told me to eat a cheeseburger.
Right. Who does your guys' graphics? There's gonna be like a graphic. You guys post those? Those are
For
awesome.
sure. Thanks.
Logan
Yeah,
does those, by the way.
I do them. I'm
Logan
gonna
does
come out
those.
with one for this too. I think that should be
Drop
pretty
a
good.
hot one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh boy, it's me again, isn't it? Oh gosh, I just get
Yep,
so
last pick in the
terribly
draft.
nervous.
This is Mr. Irrelevant.
Gosh,
Or
Mr.
Mrs.
Irrelevant.
Oh,
All right,
sorry.
let me tell you guys everything that I'm considering. At this point, I'll just be open. I'm not going to take the other Sia song, although it is on my board.
Okay.
Underneath the Tree by Kelly Clarkson, I'll tell you, is another banger in that
That's a
modern
really good
pop
one. Yeah,
genre.
Underneath it all, by no doubt, as well. Great
Deck
song.
the Halls went undrafted, unless
I don't
Carson
like
Because that one's annoying.
Yeah,
Yeah,
wait,
I
you like
think
all
that was
the
annoying.
annoying ones.
You like the ones with like bells and like.
Oh, you like the
yeah.
shitty and the bad ones and the stupid and the dumb ones.
Oh,
Hey, what's the ones I hate?
Yeah.
and Graydon's got all the based ones, man. All the deep
Yeah, well, let
cuts.
me guess. Logan's, like the rest of the ones on Logan's board were I want a hippopotamus for Christmas.
Oh,
or
I want two front
two
teeth.
front teeth for chipmunk.
Oh yeah, did you have a Chipmunk Christmas on there?
How are you guys reading my board?
you're screen sharing.
Okay.
Bleeding.
I had "Wonderful Christmas Time" down by Paul McCartney. That
Classic,
was
classic.
a
Talk
little
about obnoxious.
a little annoying. It is, but it's also
Right.
good. Okay, maybe people will hate this one. I think "Mistletoe" by Justin Bieber is a good Christmas song.
Yeah, that's
Great. Yeah.
Great song.
How about Little
Maybe-
Drummer Boy, the one with the rap verse?
No,
Yeah,
that's
that
the worst song I've ever heard. I
Save the
can't even
world.
believe- They have
He's
Donate
like,
a
he's like,
can
donate
and
a can and we'll save the world.
Literally.
Yeah, that's fine.
Busta
Drummer
Rhymes
Boy
come
by,
in and he's like, "Be charitable with your actions. Think about the less fortunate." It's like, what?
What'd you say,
The
Logan?
worst
The
song
Hank
I've
Williams
ever heard.
version is good, though. The Hank
Yes.
Williams version's good.
There you go. Now we're talking. So
Yeah.
All right. I had
you're doing Justin Bieber.
I had white. I'm gonna take "Mistletoe."
Who
by
wouldn't do Justin Bieber? Am I
I
right,
wouldn't.
fellas?
What the
Seriously.
hell? He's married. I
Yeah,
would never.
he's married.
No, you're right. I'm not a home wrecker, but Logan.
And he has
you-
tattoos. It's not really my type. Shit makes me sick. Makes me sick.
You and I both, buddy. All right, here we go. Everybody's draft. I'll read them out. Graydon,
Okay.
"Snowed In Christmas" by Jeremiah and Chance
Just
the Rapper.
snowed in.
Snowed In. I added Christmas at the end. I've never heard this song either. I haven't heard a single
alright.
one of your songs.
You'll like it.
Graydon, "Mistletoe Jam" by Luther Vandross. He's got "Christmas for Cowboys" by John Denver. He's got "Christmas in L.A." and he's got "God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen," of course, the Roy Hargrove version.
Hargrove, yes, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah. Christmas in LA is by Wolfpack, by the way.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Okay,
Yeah.
Riley's got "Santa Claus is Coming to Town" by Bruce Springsteen. Riley's got "Silver Bells" by Santa Claus. He's got "Santa Tell Me" by Ariana Grande, who, by the way, did you know that actually in their family they pronounce their name Grandy?
Really?
you
Like
imagine?
the Coney Island?
Yeah, like Grandy's
Like
Coney
Grandy's
Island.
Coney Island in Detroit?
I guess. I'm personally not from Detroit, but that sounds like the right pronunciation. Yeah,
You guys
apparently
gotta
that's how they
visit.
say it.
You guys got it.
I
we'll take you
will.
to Grandy's.
We got
I
to.
will.
Yeah. It'd be a great time.
All right, no, I totally.
Dude, we could go to a Pistons game for like $12.
Hey, man,
That's a
watch
great
it.
point.
JB's got them
watch it.
boys being feisty.
I'm just
That
saying,
price is
dude.
going up.
We'd be balling on a budget. There's so much more money for beer, you know?
That's a great
That's
point.
what
You
I'm
can get
talking
12.
about.
All
You guys
right,
gotta watch 8 Mile, by the way. Before you
Yeah, watch 8 Mile show.
I'm gonna be Cheddar Bob. That's gonna be my role when I'm in Detroit.
You're gonna shoot
Yeah,
yourself.
you always shoot yourself in the foot.
Yeah, it's something that I've really made a habit in a living of. All right, Riley, wrapping up your draft. Snow Miser and Heat Miser song, whatever that's called, and the Christmas song, Chestnuts Roasting on an Open Fire by the great Bing Crosby. Logan, you've got Last Christmas by Wham, hell of a pick. I don't care what the people say. You've got Feliz Navidad by Jose Feliciano.
Great, thank you.
You've got Silent Night, generic. You've got Jingle Bell Rock.
Look,
That one's good. Jingle Bell Rock.
the old whites in Virginia will really respect the Silent Night pick.
I'm
And
sure
that's
they
always been your target demo. You
Yeah,
started off.
That's the audience for Nerd Sex,
You
so.
started off and you were going gay audience, you were going blind Latino
and then you
audience.
went right
Everybody
back to
felt
home
welcome.
base.
And then you just said, "Yeah, all right, let's get really
Kind of
white
like
up
Trump
in here."
snuck his way into office saying he's going to do a bunch of stuff for everyone, and now back to the whites.
Wow. Did not expect the Trump comp to me
You're
on
Trump,
Nerd Sesh.
essentially, of this Christmas draft.
And I'm
I won!
Obama.
I won!
You say you're Mo Bamba?
Yes, I'm.
Wait, we should have picked that one.
Yeah, that is a
I got
Christmas
home.
song. Got it. All
I'm
right,
gonna take. I hope they play Fiend.
The way you said that.
Okay, Logan. Worst pick of the draft, in my opinion. Grandma got run over by a rain.
Banger.
My draft, like if you're 7 with a buzz cut, and it's like the edgiest thing you've heard.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. All right. Someday at Christmas by Stevie Wonder was my first pick. Snowman by Sia. Blue Christmas by Elvis. All I Want for Christmas Is You by Mariah Carey. And Mistletoe by Justin Bieber.
I think you get a nice second to my first here.
I'll take that. I'll take that. I liked Riley's
Well,
draft
let's let
a
the
lot.
people decide.
Yeah,
That's
we'll
what
put
I'm
out a
saying.
poll.
Yeah,
We'll put it on a
Logan's
poll.
last, but let's let them decide between us
1 to 3. Yeah.
Okay, let's power rank them.
I'm actually interested. I think Riley might win. I really like Riley's. I think that was a great draft.
I think I just hit more demos than you guys. Obviously, I didn't get the gay people or like the women.
Whoa,
Obviously,
okay. What's up with the jazz hands when you say gay?
Well, those are just my hands.
Oh, okay.
Those aren't jazz hands. That's a gay hand.
No, that's not what I was doing.
Well, maybe
at
you
all.
just got.
I used to
maybe you
call
just
that
got
a
jazzy
jingle
hands.
horse, man.
No, wait, don't say jingle horse. All right, we're not sure about that still. No, I've been practicing for Whiplash class with J.K. Simmons, so I've got a little bit of a shake going.
You've been practicing
I
the
saw the
hand
movie
stuff.
10 years late, by the way, and now it's his whole personality.
You
so.
just saw Whiplash?
Yeah.
Yeah,
For the
just saw it
first
last
time?
week. Yeah.
Oh my God! And did you love it?
Of course he did.
Yeah, I loved it, but I mean, obviously there are some words you shouldn't say in there. J.K. Simmons basically says jingle horse like 10 times.
Yeah.
He does.
That's
But
because he's a bad guy.
well, yeah, he's
Have you ever seen Django?
You really, Riley, you
Yeah.
shouldn't. If you were upset by Whiplash, you know what? That's a level up.
Yeah.
really?
Yeah.
No,
Leonardo
yeah.
DiCaprio raps a Rick Ross song, and he doesn't hold back.
Okay, yeah. I've seen Django Unchained, but I guess I got to see Django first.
Right. Well, you got to see the sequel when he's
Yeah.
chained. No.
Oh, Jesus.
No,
Jesus,
no,
man.
no,
Carson. Oh,
No,
God,
no,
man.
no.
Yeah, this is why you're not on ESPN.
I meant the
yet.
prequel. That's a great
All
movie.
right.
That's one of my favorites. I love Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah,
Awesome movie.
yeah. I love feet.
All right.
Yes!
Oh, Logan, you guys got to do this after.
Finally!
I feel
Oh, yeah. I
bad.
don't actually like feet. I think people who like feet are weird.
I love him.
Ah,
I'm with you, buddy.
One of the betrayals of the century right there.
I like all parts of the body.
I'm just a big feet guy.
Yeah, all right.
Feet.
We promised you guys some Cavs talk. We've been going almost 2 hours now, so I don't want to hold you guys any longer, but very
Best
quickly,
team in the NBA. Kenny Atkinson revolutionized basketball, and when we get Max Strus back, I don't think there's anything that can stop us other than a nuclear bomb.
Love it.
Yeah.
Riley,
Yeah,
anything you
Cavs
want to
talk.
add?
Well, assuming they find that one in New Jersey, I don't know how it's going to get to Cleveland, but yeah, no, I mean, I've loved watching them play. I said that, like, Donovan is playing in a way that I'm not used to seeing him move like that. I think he's unlocked like something this season, and I think the way that the distribution of just like one player can do it one night, another player can do it another night. I love that. My only worry so far in watching like the past couple weeks has been Mobley's hands. I think like they completely they'd be dominating. Like I think they still would be dominating every team if Mobley could just catch and gather down there a little bit better than he has been. But other than that, I love watching him play.
He has gotten stronger, and he can shoot the three now.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And the winningest player over the last 4 years in the NBA is George Niang, so that's awesome.
That's a great stat. We just had some trivia where that came up or something.
Yeah.
Boy, there's a man whose body I do not mind looking at.
It's hard to miss out there on the court.
Built like
He's
a minivan.
white, big baby.
That's got to be like the most demoralizing. Like when George Niang scores on you, that's got to be like a humbling experience,
He
right?
had a reverse last night.
Yeah, it's definitely.
My jaw drops every time he scores. I'm just like, no way, dude.
Yeah. And he also, like, I love that it's not even just, like, pretty ball from him by any means either. Like, he makes mistakes that, like, high school basketball players make, but he, for some reason, is, like, just really an X factor. Like, when he's in the game, I love that he's the arguer, too.
Yeah.
Like, I love that that's the player who is, like, in people's faces and, like, yelling at the refs and shit. I'm like, why is this guy on a team?
I'll tell you a sneaky X factor for the Cavs too, and you saw it in the games where we dropped two to the Hawks in the same week. Granted, the first game that we dropped to them, Trae Young went 20 for 20 whatever. He's having a great year.
Perfect passer rating.
We were without Dean Wade.
Yeah.
Dean Wade is a 6'6" guy who can guard 1 through 4.
6'9", I think.
Yeah,
He's
6'9",
a big dude.
He can guard 1 through 4, shoots 35% from 3, is fast, can cut, can attack the rim. When he's active and on the roster, he got the start this season. And Isaac Okoro we've seen take a little bit of a step too, but Dean Wade is like a true X factor that I don't think anybody really saw becoming the guy that he is.
I will say, Carson, I hated on Dean Wade so much last year. Carson always pushed back. He was like, Dean Wade is a good player. No slander
Because
will
I
be
thought
tolerated.
he was Dwayne Wade.
Oh.
Yeah.
Just looking at the stat sheet, I was like, brother, they have Dwayne Wade. Yeah, I think the Cavs are going to be pretty good. You guys did for one crazy moment.
Yeah.
What a weird
And,
team
still
that
doing
was.
it.
What do you guys think about the boy Ty Jerome?
I mean,
yeah.
really, I loved him to start the year, but I think we've seen him crash back down to earth here in this last 3 weeks.
It's been a rough little stretch.
Chill.
Yeah, it's been a rough little stretch, but I think the highs that he's capable of and his pace is really inspiring to have a second unit guy come in who's tall, can do that slow step, can knock down threes. He's gone cold in the last couple of weeks, as I said. But he sees the floor and is like, he's truly kind of dynamic. Like, he started the year and I was like, oh, that's it. We're winning the championship. If he would have stayed at that clip, there was no stopping us because he was shooting, I think, 60% from 3. But he's a great player. And you're not worried about him getting injured either, which is great. Like, he's not hyper athletic by any means, but he just comes in and sets a nice pace, can give Darius a break, and has size and plays the passing lanes really well. He's a great defender.
Yeah, I always knew he was going to balance out a little bit, and then obviously like that, the way that they're able to get it done in other ways when he has gone a little bit cold, like
Karis LeVert
and Okoro's been shooting great from 3, like,
right from the corner, where he needs to be.
So I mean they're such a deep team.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I will say Kenny Atkinson said a weird thing in his press conference after the last game on Monday after Karis hit 6 threes. He said it's really important for Karis to become the spot-up shooter that he's becoming because him and Darius have always been great ball handlers, and for him to just become an accurate set shooter is great for him on this team or on other teams in the future. And so I would keep an eye out for a trade of Karis LeVert. I think that was a bit of a slip by Kenny.
Peculiar.
I think if Karis LeVert becomes more consistent at that spot-up shooting, I think he's a trade deadline guy that we do move.
That's interesting. That is a weird quote. I mean,
it was weird.
This team is so fun, and like basically everybody's playing the best basketball of their lives, right? I mean, Karis has been so efficient. He has taken that step as a spot-up shooter, which makes him more complimentary. Okoro, you mentioned Riley, has been shooting the ball so well. I do really like Dean Wade, and I do think he's a better guy to have full-time in that starting 3 spot than Okoro because I trust him more as a shooter. I like the size that he brings defensively, but if you were going to tell me coming into this year that you would get this version of Evan Mobley and this version of Darius Garland, like, I'd be all in, right? Those are the 2 big things because Garland was so concerning last year, and he's playing the best basketball of his life, clearly.
Yeah.
And Mobley, I have loved Evan Mobley, since I was just a sprightly young man. Like, he has been my guy, and I don't disagree with you, Riley, about the moments with the hands, the moments with the offensive skill in general, but it's better than it's ever been, right? And he's looked more confident.
On people.
Yeah.
Exactly, the aggression, right?
Slamming on people.
Attacking off the catch, driving with a different level of confidence, taking the
doing
threes.
It coast to coast.
The transition stuff to me is like the biggest, right? I mean, just the fact that he has gone and become one of the best transition ball handlers and just his ability to initiate all sorts of actions for the offense. Like, he's a much better passer than the raw stat sheet would show. And shout out to Kenny, because Kenny saw the vision there, and I think Kenny's really good. So,
and
Boston's
Max Strus hasn't touched the
juggernaut.
court.
It's true.
And Max Strus had a career year last year.
Yeah.
It's a really solid group of wings. If there's one area that maybe you would want to see an upgrade, it's like maybe consolidating some of the solid wings into one really good wing.
Right. That's
like
why
if
I
you're
think
talking
Karis
about
gets moved. Yeah.
Yeah. And I could see that. But outside of Boston, I mean, I think they've clearly established themselves as the second best in the East.
I'm a little worried. It happened last year when we took a skid at the end of the year as if Jared Allen gets hurt. Our center depth, I know Evans looked good when he plays 5, and sometimes that is our best unit when he's at 5, and Sam Merrill's out there, and it's just like three and your center can bring the ball up and the whole court spread. But when Jared Allen misses games, we have to play Tristan Thompson, and that's something no NBA team wants to do. He's a good locker room guy, great guy to have on the bench, won the championship there, brings something to the crowd and the team that is invaluable. But if he has to get starting 28 minutes a game, 35 minutes a game, that's a big hole. So I would like to see some sort of backup center be brought in.
But when you're healthy, I mean, it's such a special weapon to have 48 minutes of great defensive center play and 48 minutes of great primary offensive creator because of how you can stagger Donovan and Darius and how you can stagger Mobley and Allen. They're a very complete team. I'm really excited about the Cavs. I'm really happy because, like, it's just the leaps, man. I love it when the young guys take the leaps. And
I hate
really
this whole conversation about the NBA ratings dropping and how the league isn't watchable right now. And I've been watching so much NBA, obviously, because the Browns have been really bad. And I watch a lot of NBA anyway. It's probably my favorite sport to watch. And I think, one, my team's really good, but there's inspiring play all over the league. OKC is the best team. You have Dallas, you have Memphis, you have Cleveland, you have a feisty Detroit team. It's spread out, and I don't know. I think it's awesome, the state of the league right now, and I think the ratings have more to do with people's favorite teams being out of market. And I think if you could count crack streams and meth streams as ratings, that ratings drop is very small, because I think the majority of people just fucking illegally stream NBA games because of the packages you have to buy.
As more of an outsider to, like, I watch the NBA, but more of a casual, I will say I think a lot of that has to do with some of those really established great teams starting so poorly. I think that is like a huge thing with
Philly,
with
Milwaukee,
ratings. It's like that. Like,
LA.
Philly, Milwaukee, and the Lakers.
And the Nuggets, too. The Nuggets have had their struggles this year, too.
Yeah, and so I just think that now that we've seen, like, Milwaukee start to play really well, and I think the Lakers will, they'll still always put it together. Like, I think they're still going to be a playoff team, or at least a play-in team. Like, it'll be fine. And once the NFL ends, more people watch. So
100%. The thing that I think makes me angrier about when people make blanket statements about that, the first thing that makes me mad is when people say that there's no style in the league, when I think that every NBA team has a distinct style of play. Like Houston, right? Great defense. Dogs.
I didn't even mention them. What a great success.
They go crazy. And I also think the league's more talented than ever, top to bottom. I just think there's more talent. The second thing that makes me angrier, too, is when people criticize the style of play and say people favor the three-point line more. One, I do think it's true, because 3 is worth more than 2. But I hate it more, like, from the finals of the NBA Cup more than anything else. It's like people take that one game where Oklahoma City had a bad shooting night and they go, teams are settling too much for shots. And it's like, okay, well, make your criticism about that game. Oklahoma City in that one game settled too much for the shot when it wasn't falling, instead of making it this whole, that's the one game you watched all year long, so you're going to make this blanket statement about the whole league when, well, of course your viewpoint is skewed because that's the only game you've watched all year. So
and a lot of people are forced to just watch Boston, too, who's like...
and they're the greatest ever at doing it. It's like that's such a pigeonholed argument, too, but it's because, bro, they've got 5 guys on the court that all shoot 40% from deep.
They've cracked the math. They've cracked the formula.
And Golden State's back this year. Golden State looks really good. I mean,
I will say, I think Steph is the most influential player ever. That is a take that I would take.
Here's my thing with all the ratings complaints. Well, I actually have a lot of thoughts on this. I won't get into it all right now. But first of all, Graydon, I completely agree with you. I think that the widely increased use of illegal streams and the lack of availability for some of these fans through like the traditional avenues on TV, that's a problem. I also think what's happening with the NBA to some extent, when you look at the ratings, like every interest except for the NFL, that's the one thing that, because it's like such a collective, all you have to do is sit down one day a week. Every game has high stakes, right? It's so easy to be totally in tune with what's going on. Everything else in the world is becoming more and more niche, right? Like attention is just more split, more fractured than ever. So like, I don't worry about that stuff with the NBA because I think the product is amazing. And I think that the skill is clearly the best it's ever been. I think the talent clearly goes deeper. I mean, you mentioned Detroit. You got the Pistons stuff on today. Like, they're a fun team, right? And you think about how talented Cade is. You think about the step that Jay Ivey's taken. Like,
4 30-point triple-doubles this year or something.
And he was awesome in their last game. Like, there's so few teams that you look at and you go, they are just lacking in talent.
Washington.
But then it's like, fair. The same people, though, but even Washington
Cooper
has
Flag.
Koulibaly, right? And they'll get Cooper
Yeah.
Flag in there. The same people who are like, oh, well, there's too much freedom of movement and all the rules favor the offense and all these guys are jacking up threes. Then when there is like a defensive, gritty game, right, and it's not super pretty offense, those same people go, oh, well, this is unwatchable. It's like, what do you want, right? Because the NBA you've romanticized in your head, and nobody loves every era of basketball more than me. I can probably confidently say that. But like the era that these people have romanticized in 2004, right? Basketball was never slower and more physical and uglier. Offenses were never worse. You go a decade ago and you still have so many 4s and 5s who are unskilled role players who can't knock down spot up jumpers. Like everybody has gotten better.
Do you see the
And
box
it's
out
nostalgia
stat from
that
this year?
blinds people. No, what is it?
Like the average amount of box outs in a game has gone down to like below 7 or something like that.
Wow.
Well, it's just
Where,
the,
like,
That's interesting.
The
Yeah,
game's
it's like 10
faster.
years ago, you had all these like traditional unskilled 4s and 5s that were boxing out every
big
play,
lugs.
and now no one boxes out, and you still grab rebounds effectively. I think that's like a funny thing that's kind of just died in the league.
Yeah. I mean, the game's just evolved, and I think it's evolved to a
Yeah.
great place. And it
I
really
agree.
annoys me that, like, the instinct of so many people, especially on Twitter, is just, oh my God, the sky is falling because they want it to be falling, I guess, because they have
and-
whatever gripe with the NBA. And to
Well,
me,
they
it's just
also
such a
blow
tired
the-
storyline. And
they
people
blow
don't
the
even use
ratings
legitimate
thing.
reasons.
They blow the ratings thing out of proportion, and I don't know if it's because people don't know about how bad the streaming crisis is right now, or
Yeah.
it's like there's a reason that there's so many people talking about it online, but it doesn't. The numbers are lying to you essentially.
Well,
Yeah.
and look at social, look internationally. The NBA is killing it in those areas. And like I think those are as good predictors of growth and measures of like the health of the league as anything. So anyways, not to get on my
and I think
soapbox.
culturally as well, like again, as somebody who is a casual, culturally, it's never been talked about more than like the past 5 years. Like it is constantly used in a million different ways, whether it be to be funny or like as a reference just for other things in culture. It's like right now, even like, you know, these phrases pop up. It's like ball up top. Like I know that's like a stupid thing to point to, but I'm like, basketball is so relevant to everybody's actual life right now that I'm just like, there's no, whatever ratings are saying is just because everybody also has complete access to anything they want to watch for free.
Exactly. Yeah.
And instead of paying like 6 different services or whatever, or, I mean, that's more of a thing in the NFL. Like they spread it out more, I would say, because if you just buy the ticket on YouTube TV, like you can kind of watch a lot of the stuff. But it's like, people, if it's free for everyone, who's gonna pay for it?
Yeah. It's like, I think you bring up a great point with having access to everything at your fingertips. In 1970, whatever, like 60 million Americans watched the finale of MASH. Nothing has that cultural currency anymore. It's not 1998 when the NBA Finals are one of very few things actually competing for your interest. Like, people watch streamers all day, right? People watch all forms of content that didn't exist. They watch Hivemind. Like, it's just a totally different
just
world.
Total bullshit.
Bullshit,
I
yeah.
don't even know what it is.
I always bring up the example of like the Braves were the most popular MLB team for a long time because they were on. It was the network's
'Cause Turner.
favorite team. It was Turner's team, so he just like played it everywhere. So everybody loved the Braves. The Braves aren't the most popular MLB team anymore because you can watch whoever you want. The big cities obviously have great teams right now. Whatever. It's like that has gone by the wayside. Same thing with music. It's totally like you would listen to the music that was coming out of your area because it was at the record stores and that was what getting played on the radio. And so you would love, you know, if you were a New York rap fan, it was because you lived in New York and heard it a lot. And you might have not even heard of the biggest guy in San Francisco or in Houston, Texas, you know?
Yeah.
And now you can listen to whatever you want all the time. So, yeah, that's a bigger conversation about media consumption, but it's like, yeah.
I totally agree.
I don't think the NBA has anything to worry about.
I agree. I think it's in a great spot. And I do think a lot of the people who complain aren't paying close attention or are rooting against it for whatever reason. People love to hate, man. A lot of people are haters.
Probably racist.
Well, like, I do think, I don't know. the people who say that the NBA is failing because it went woke, I'm like, all right, man. All right, it's totally baseless.
You never
ridiculous.
liked ball to begin with.
Yeah, exactly, bro.
You
Exactly.
never liked the game
Amen.
to begin with, and you probably sucked.
I couldn't have said it better myself. Thank you guys so much for coming on. I mean, just always an absolute delight
Love you, boys.
to have you. Love you guys. We'll come out to Detroit sometime. And
We would love that.
Please do. Please
We'll
do.
find the grimiest little basement. Have you guys seen the movie Barbarian? That's set
Yes,
in the
that was
wonderful
shot
city.
in Turkey, not Detroit. We don't.
It was
fuck
shot
with
in
that shit
Turkey?
around here.
Wasn't it
Yeah.
shot in Hungary?
Whatever. It's shot in Europe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm
It's a
gonna
terrible
find that
country.
basement.
Okay, all right, yeah.
I'm gonna find
I
that
got one
basement.
for
That's
you.
what I'm gonna stay. Thank you guys so much again, everybody. Go check out our previous trivia episodes with Hivemind. They're timeless. We did one this past summer. We did one the summer before that. And obviously, go check them all out. They're an absolute delight. They've got all sorts of fun music and culture stuff. And now they've got Hivemind Cheap Seats. So follow all the channels. Follow them on social. Awesome stuff on TikTok. I mean, they've done a lot of the similar trivia list stuff. Well, you guys put your own spin on it, obviously, with a lot of the ranker lists and whatnot. But if you like dudes guessing lists, which you may if you like us, they've got a fun, different version of that. So,
Yeah, you guys were a big inspiration for us doing the stuff the way that we do it, and we love watching your guys' stuff. So if you're a Hivemind fan here because you like our stuff, go watch Nerd Sesh. They're awesome. Even if you don't like sports, you'll enjoy their witty banter and all
their
the
depth
names,
of knowledge.
the names they come up with for each
you
other and
guys.
stuff like that. So
you guys are too kind. Graydon, Riley, the absolute best. Everybody go check them out. And if you want more of our stuff, it's here on YouTube if that's where you're watching. You could also be listening, in which case it's here. So audio platforms, YouTube, whatever you want. We got NBA, NFL. We do some film breakdown stuff and all of our full shows. And we've got tons of trivia stuff across social, TikTok, for as long as that's around, at NerdSesh, Instagram, at NerdSesh, Twitter, at Nerd_Sesh. And if you're waiting for the graphic from the drafts and our Power Rankings graphics, that's going to be across social, so you can find that everywhere. So, one last shout out to the Hivemind guys. With that, as always, I've been Carson Brabber.
I've been Logan Camden.
I'm Graydon.
I'm Riley.
And this was Nerd Sesh.